田はどっちだ
It's a new edition. Today is the Red Leaf Retrocast's first episode involving anime, and I'm joined with 3 other people from around the world, and we're pretty much going to call this the Weebcast and have many different names from here on out. I am joined with Joe from Rhode Island. How you doing?
Good. How you doing, man?
I'm looking forward to this. We're also joined with Tori from Norway.
Yo, what's up?
Bergen, Norway in particular, correct?
Yeah.
All right. And our last one is the guy who watches everything, Hickey, from Brazil.
How are you, baby?
Sorry?
Sorry?
Sorry, you're apologizing so soon?
Hasn't even started yet, man. Come on.
I
Ready to get
didn't
going.
apologize. I don't know what I'm hearing, but I didn't apologize. Do you want to know my city? Or something? No?
Yeah,
I'm just somewhere in
what
Brazil.
city?
Don't worry about me. I just
Somewhere in
told
Brazil,
that.
alright. Where the winter disease can't reach you.
Yep.
Somewhere in a country the size of the United States. Great.
Yeah. And as we all know, I'm from Canada, hence the Red Leaf Retrocast part.
Oh yeah, you're from Canada, Mr.
Well,
Fucking
okay, I
Born
live in
Top.
Canada now. I'm from many parts of the U.S. originally, so the way this is gonna work is each episode will finish with us spitballing over a retro anime, and what we've kind of come to a consensus of what's retro, and this might change later, is anything before the year 2000, and that would be debuted before 2000. And it's not going to be a total review as much as us just talking about it, saying all the things we liked, disliked about it, and making fun of certain things. And who knows, we might score something that might be a review to some people, but we really won't have even a format over the show. Before that, we go over to a general topic, which will either debate or bitch about something that's irritating us in anime, or something we really like. Who knows? But let's jump into our introductions. And the way we're going to do this is we each picked our 3 favorite shows, wrote them down, and we're just going to pretty much hurt each other and make sure we might not have emotions at the end of it.
What we do best.
Our emotions.
But the way this all started was on Discord. We get into the voice chat 5 days a week at times, and we're just talking, so why not just take it to a new level and have just get our conversations out to the wide world.
That's not good. You know that, right?
This is gonna go horribly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, before the shit kicks off, how open on spoilers are we?
Well, for the sake of Ashita no Joe, and the fact that all the anime we're going to be talking about are going on 20 years old, I think spoiler. It's going to be, we're going to spoil the shit out of the shows.
All right.
Okay.
So if you haven't seen the show, maybe I think maybe we should go. Did you like it? Yes. All right. And then you guys can get your opinion off of that, and then not listen to the rest if you don't want to be spoiled from the show we talk about. Sounds fair?
Sounds fair.
Cool.
Fair.
Okay. So our first victim is Tori, and we're just going to go through his 3. Rip him a new asshole over what terrible shows he likes.
You know I have
Clearly
perfect
he
taste.
he likes the worst shows. No one else has shows worse than him.
Nah, man, you know I have perfect taste. You're just jealous.
Yeah.
His first one is Aria the Animation.
Woo!
Who wants to start?
Okay, so the story takes place on fucking Mars. One. Couldn't just be Italy, because that's too normal. You can't have a show about basically Italy take place in just Italy. You have to take it to Mars to give it some kind of interest. And even though that sounds kind of interesting, nothing then happens for 3 seasons.
You're telling me they made a show with multiple seasons where nothing happens?
Yeah, I am.
Who would watch that?
I would. Me.
What psycho would watch Tori? Shut up. We're not talking about you right now. We're talking about Ari the Animation. Hickey, have you seen Aria the Animation?
Yeah, I have.
Oh, you sound excited.
No.
No. That's the general consensus. See, when I'm late at night, when it's late at night and I can't sleep, and I ran out of NyQuil, I think I might just start turning on R the animation, because within seconds, I have passed out and reaching REM sleep.
Now, in fairness, though, the show is pretty. Show does have a nice soundtrack.
I mean, it's from like 2005, so for the time, I guess it was okay.
Okay.
I mean, if that's the best thing I could say about it, it's not saying much.
I know Tori's going to yell at me and say,
makes, Tori, what makes R the Animation the worst anime?
What makes it the worst anime? Wow. You're putting me on the spot here. Too much water, I guess?
Too much water.
IGN.
IGN, 10 out of 10, worst anime.
7.6 out of 10, too much water.
I saw less water in Wind Waker.
The characters were interesting.
Oh, man. You know what annoyed me the most watching that show? Was how they kept incorporating that dumb cat.
Oh.
Wasn't the cat literally Arya? Wasn't that like the cat?
That is Arya, yeah.
It's about the cat.
Oh, it is. Now, you're not even wrong.
The worst.
Oh,
Well, why don't we follow this up with another just awful show, and that's called Fate Zero.
I mean, the only thing I have negative to say about it is the monologuing is fucking excessive. Other than that, the show's fucking pretty. I can't not watch it. I'm kind of a mark for this shit, though, because I like history. And I like, the heroes from the past, garbage. So I really got nothing negative on it.
Hickey?
Yeah, it's a problem talking about Fate Zero because it's actually pretty good. I wish Saber wouldn't bitch around so much, but that's fine.
Yeah, there was no reason for her to be a woman. Didn't make sense.
True.
Well, there are many things in Fate Zero that do just, the Type Moon-esque things just always seem to come out, and needlessly having fan-servicey gender characters will always come to be, that's for sure. And that's unacceptable to me at some point.
I mean,
could be
Zero
worse,
has the
could
nice
be-
part of being, written by the Butcher, so it was more cohesively written than the rest of the Fate universe.
Yeah, could be worse, could be Fate Stay Night.
Oh, god damn. Please
Well, the
no.
fact that we have to then go into the same universe as Fate Stay Night, and even Unlimited Blade Works, just speaks volumes to how shitty just the series is as a whole. And Fate Zero
Moonies,
can't
leave
be
us alone,
an exception
please.
to that.
Are you having issues with this one?
It's a
Type
tough one.
Moonies,
It's a
please
tough
don't
one to
rip
make
our
fun of.
spine.
I'm making stretches here. Well, Tori,
Wow. Yeah.
Well,
What do you want
anything?
to know?
Anything
Anything
about
I have
Fate
to-
Zero you hate?
Anything I have to add? Well, I'm not, like you touched on it, I'm not a big fan of Saber. Not so much about her being a woman, but rather, the worst I can say, I don't agree with a lot of her decisions and a lot of her, her goals throughout the series. I found those to be a bit annoying, though those moments also gave birth to one of my favorite scenes in the show, which was when Ryder was absolutely verbally destroying her.
Yeah,
that shit was the best.
That scene was
The best.
Man, it's been a while since I've seen that show. I might have to rewatch it soon,
That's good.
so I
If
can
they
good.
didn't
have more
want
material to make
$200 for me
fun
to
of.
own it. If they didn't want $200 for me to own it, I'd probably own it.
Oh yeah, that's a major thing. It's owned by Aniplex, right?
Yeah, it's
Or
distributed by Aniplex.
Distributed and licensed by him. So yeah, no one normal can afford it.
That's why one of the guys in our Discord chat got a UK Blu-ray player, just so it would only be $50 for him to get. He saved more buying the Blu-ray player and then the disc than he would have just to buy the disc.
That is fucking excessive. Holy shit.
Not
just
cool.
a touch.
Not
No,
cool.
it's not.
So our
I mean,
next,
granted-
So granted,
Granted, our Aniplex releases are really nice, but man, chipboard ain't worth a fucking $100. It's just not. It's just asinine. It's just not worth it.
Yeah.
So our next anime is Hajime no Ippo, a boxing anime from 2001, I believe.
Like Ashita
I
no
think
Joe,
so.
but with a stronger formula. And by formula, I mean the same thing happens every fight.
You know, you're not wrong.
No,
I mean,
no, I'm not.
It is about boxing. They make a lot of penis jokes in the show for no reason at all, other than for slapstick comedy value.
Not
Yeah.
enough cross counters, 1 out of 10.
Well, it's funny you bring up a boxing anime, since Ashita no Joe is going to be the first one we'll be talking about on this edition. And if Hajime no Ippo is not a total ripoff of Ashita no Joe, I don't know what anime is anymore.
Oh my god.
I wouldn't call it a ripoff. It does
No,
have its own story. It's just
total
far too
ripoff.
repetitive.
100% fact. The best fact.
100% fact. They do box in both of them. Obvious ripoff.
Obvious ripoff. Thank you, Tori. I'm glad you got my back on this one.
Fast and the Furious is actually just a ripoff of Initial D. That's what I just heard.
It's true though.
Well, that is what Need
Deja
for Speed's
vu.
trying to do. They're like, how can we make our video game exactly like the Fast and Furious movies? Got it. Good thing Hajime no Ippo really tried to do their best by making Ashita no Joe 3.
Kuroko no Basket is really just a ripoff of Space Jam.
Well, we all know every sports anime after 2000 is a ripoff of Prince of Tennis.
Oh, that's true. The original Space Jam, but with
Right.
tennis.
But with tennis. Hickey, have you seen Ippo? I know you've seen everything, except one show, apparently.
Yeah, I've seen Hajime no Ippo. The only thing I learned with the series is that you fight better after you fainted. Like, just keep punching.
Keep punching,
Yes.
learning to punch some more until the guy suffers brain damage.
Just keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep swimming, swimming, swimming.
If that's not a
Always.
boring concept, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
Well, Tori,
Wow.
have we hurt your emotions?
No, you can't hurt my emotions. I don't have emotions.
Oh well.
Okay.
Mine are gonna be easy.
Well, next up is Joe's.
Oh, yes.
The most elitist of picks.
Hello.
His first one is Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Oh.
A mech deep thinking show from 1994.
With its head so far up its own ass that the director contemplated suicide multiple times during its own creation.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot to pick on here. There is
Well,
definitely...
I actually just watched the Rebuild movies 2 days ago.
Fucking trash.
You watched the even worse ones. Good job.
How can we make this better? And they actually made them worse.
They made him look prettier.
They made them look good. I mean, that's what over 15 years of advancement will do in technology.
Yeah, that's maybe.
Like, the main character is an insufferable brat. And I don't care if you say he's written that way on purpose. He's there to hate. And then and if that wasn't good enough, they introduce another character who's this like pseudo half German, half Japanese, half American hybrid
150%
of
person.
tsundere. She's basically man bear pig tsundere.
Maybe the bear part.
Yes. Well, to be fair, though, every character in Eva is broken.
And then if that wasn't enough, this blue-haired chick is a clone who has no problem not showing emotion at all. Might as well be
Never.
a doll. And they even touch on the doll part later.
Yep.
Yep.
What could be more exciting than talking about dolls?
Exactly. That is exactly Joe's fetish, though.
Hey,
Girls that
hey.
don't
I
have
love
emotions and
lamp.
don't move.
Is that why he wants to move to Alabama?
That might be why.
That might be. Something, fuck off land, something.
Oh, man.
Uh,
Hickey Mateos from Brazil, what's up with your Ava talk?
I don't know. I just really hate Shinji.
Really,
True.
really hate him.
I want to
So I-
punch him in the face so many times. He's like, I believe in this place. Look, you need to go and fight.
I'm done.
No, I don't need to. I want to leave this place. And he never leaves. Like,
No, he tries to leave.
yeah, he
and
tries.
then
but
they, and
he
then they
can't,
pull him back in like freaking
5 times.
the Goodfellas.
Yeah.
So 5 times in the first 10 episodes.
Keep pulling me back in.
Just when I
Shinji.
thought I was out, they pull me back into the mech. Slap, get the fuck back in there.
Shinji, save
didn't
the
know we were
world by
talking about Zeta.
piloting your mother?
Question
Yeah,
mark.
because that totally makes sense.
Yeah, how do you explain Ava without saying grown man forces his son to save the world by piloting his mother?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, it makes sense to me.
Sure.
With another pilot who is also his mother's clone.
That he grows to have a crush on.
Yeah.
Nah, I
No,
didn't.
Shinji's a broken
I mean-
little piece of shit, but
There's this
he's
one man
meant to be that
birthday,
way.
just letting you know.
Yeah, and then the German fucking mommy issues. Great. She had 2 choices in life. She was either going to be a stripper or a pilot. She just picked the better one. Not
She
the
picked
one with better
one
pay,
where
the
she
better
can
one.
inflict pain on herself by fighting.
Yep.
And then when that was taken away, she basically killed herself.
A man can dream.
A man can dream. Now you actually hate that character so much, don't you?
I hate Asuka, but she is a fantastically written character. Any character willing to pry emotion out of me is well written, because as it's joked about on our Discord, I have no emotions.
The one
I don't think anybody here has.
Yeah. It's a recurrent theme.
It's like a recurring theme. After you break 600 shows and you start getting fucking closer to 1,000, you just don't care anymore.
Now I must say
Wait,
one of my
come on. I'm at 900.
I know. So am I, man. You're the only person here that has more than me.
Yeah.
That news
Yeah, it's
looks
funny,
more and more tempting.
I have over like 500 shows, and I'm only halfway with you guys.
Get good.
Ah.
bro.
Power levels are showing.
You watched
Oh, man.
JJ. You have watched more episodes than me, despite having watched completed less shows than me. So
Well, we'll get to that reason later.
I've watched One Piece twice. Fuck you, dude.
twice.
So, my biggest problem with Ava is the fact that it has one of the most WTF endings that you have to then think about for days on end before you can even begin to understand it. But then they came out later with an actual ending for it to make sense. But you didn't know that when it came out, when I watched it, you didn't know that was the ending.
You didn't know the ending of the end of Evangelion? You didn't know that was the ending?
Well, it wasn't out when I was watching this show.
Nah, I think that both those endings are identical.
I don't know.
Yeah.
My 7-year-old mind definitely did not understand it.
Well, maybe you weren't the fucking target audience.
Yeah.
Maybe you shouldn't have watched it when you were
just
7.
maybe.
Maybe it was my fault for being 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Took me like 3 attempts to kind of understand the ending. I'm like, I'm not sure. I'm still not sure if I understood it.
I watched it at 10, didn't give a shit about it, watched it again at 16, and I've watched it multiple times since then. Like,
Like
my
every year?
take on... Yeah, every 6 months, something like that. My take on End of Evangelion is it is the same as the last couple episodes of the series. It's just the series is what's going on in Shinji's head, and that End of Eva is what's actually happening, like on the outside world, as opposed to, oh, well, my feelings are all out of whack. No one cares, man. Just I want to see what happens. Granted, it's a fun game to put them together and see, like, when this was happening in relative terms to what was actually happening on the outside world, where giant naked rays fucking popping out and everything's getting all horrifying.
It
think
does make it seem like it's a giant LSD trip.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And speaking of LSD, I think that gets
Yeah.
us into our next one to make fun of Joe.
Yeah.
NHK.
Oh shit. I
Welcome to
can't
the
make
NHK.
fun of it. Oh fuck.
NHK. That's a tough one, actually.
I'll wait. Deal with my show that deals with depression. I'll wait.
Yeah,
It made me want to kill myself. No.
I mean, if you're looking for ways to want to kill yourself and ruin your life, NHK is definitely the show to watch.
Oh yeah, that's a manual on how to ruin your life.
Kind of the opposite, but yeah.
Kind of. There's a lot of ideas through the show. Buy a camera,
And
go
all
in
of
front
them-
of a middle school. Go in front of middle school and take some pictures.
I mean, that's a good way to ruin your life. Another one is to
That is.
take up,
Crack?
get obsessed with internet porn and porn gaming.
Okay. Not crack.
That too.
Oh, that too.
Yeah.
I don't see a
Do
problem
crack.
being addicted to hentai games.
No, of course you don't, Hickey.
I thought that was going to go in a wildly different direction. Holy shit, I thought that was going total other way.
What did you think it was going? I don't see a problem with taking pictures of little girls.
No, Hickey's not a pedophile, his friend is.
Oh yeah, that's true. The pedophile. Oh. I'm gonna link him to this after.
Oh,
Should.
good.
Yeah.
What's he gonna do? Yell at me in Portuguese? I can't speak his language.
No, he's so passive. He won't do anything.
Oh,
Good.
well, I really like them lollies.
Oh man. Yeah, and just when you think the main character's BS is all figured out, then you realize that the other character's BS isn't figured out.
Misaki's a goddess and you will leave her alone.
Will we? Will we really?
No, I don't expect you to, no. Obviously.
I don't know. Parental Issues 101 seems to be Joe's choice of anime.
It really does. Speaking of which,
Speaking of which,
uh,
roll
For
right into
women out
number
there
3.
who meet Joe, if you have mommy or daddy issues, you are a made woman.
How'd you know? I already found one.
depressing.
All right, Joe. Defend. I'll allow you to defend NHK because I actually do enjoy the show.
Same.
I don't need to defend it.
Cool. Now we can
Well-
move on to Lane.
Well, we can
Yeah.
move on to Mateos and Joe's pick, which is Lane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Close to
Now,
fuck
I have-
story. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Existentialism, the series.
existentialism.
You thought Ava had its own had its head up its own ass. Welcome to Lane.
Yeah. Static noises the anime.
A show's literal
Present day.
a show-
Present time.
a show's literal opening goes. You don't seem to understand. They did not
patronizing,
expect
isn't it?
anything from the viewer when they made that show.
Second 3 of episode 1, and you don't seem to understand. A little patronizing, don't you think?
They made a show that wasn't even meant to be understood. They just threw a whole bunch of shit together and thought, "Look at this. This is cool, right? This is meaning, right?"
Put
They
some
made a bunch of
static
huge
noise
leaps
in
about what
background.
the internet was going to be, and they just kind of wound up being correct.
That too. That's actually incredible.
It is.
A lot of
It's
people
actually
kill
amazing.
themselves and suddenly send me mails. Man, they got it right.
Yeah.
Man, Brazil's a weird place.
It is.
I mean, we do always hear Hickey when he goes home from work, and it's like, "Oh, I almost got hit by a car again."
Oh, I got
Every
hit by
time.
a car again. I'm fine.
I'm pretty sure that's just how the police act down there. They're like, "Oh, look, a suicide. Let's just send an email to the first person in their list."
Yeah, pretty much.
Now, who actually understood what the hell Lane was doing in the internet?
Lane isn't about understanding, man. It's not a it's not a story you're supposed to understand.
What the fuck? Oh.
Like
I
I
don't think
said,
that's a defense of the show.
like I said,
Not-
they don't expect you to understand anything. It's not meant to be understood. They just
They expect you.
they throw
see-
stuff together to make it seem cool.
Sip some
They have
wine.
they have a dartboard of internet concepts of possibilities, and they went, "You know what? All of them."
Yeah. They expect you to put things together on your own, and I appreciate that. I don't like things handed to me on a silver platter. I think it's kind of boring that way,
Lane has
as you
his-
could tell by my 3 picks.
Ah, like the Ava rebuild movies.
Oh,
just like any show Joe like. Lane has a special kind of BS.
Yeah, it does.
Evangelion, NHK, Lane, even JoJo's has that special kind of BS. You don't know what it is, but you know it's special.
As soon as you read it, you go, "No, that's his series. Sure is."
Yeah, and even did Crunchyroll call you recently? Because it seems every one of your elitist shows are now on Crunchyroll.
Because of my objective opinion that I spout as fact.
Well, another elitist anime is Mateo's next one. That's Ergo Proxy.
Yeah.
Ooh.
You know the band Evanescence?
Yeah.
Fuck you. Come on.
Amy Lee is the main character of this series.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, no.
It's also existentialism, the anime. Also philosophy and a bunch of other stuff.
Sure
It's
is.
another anime trying to be smarter than what it is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's
Definitely.
like if you went to watch Evangelion or Lane and didn't understand, go watch Ergo Proxy. They make it easy on you.
So if you enjoy not understanding things, watch Ergo Proxy.
Basically, the Ergo Proxy did. The Ergo Proxy
If you
did
want to
step on
feel
the
smart.
brakes a little bit. They didn't go full out.
You know, I really feel like Ergo Proxy could have been written by Nihei and it wouldn't have changed at all.
Now, for those who don't know who Nihei is,
Oh, he's the mangaka of Blame, Knights of Sidonia, Biomega. And before everyone starts correcting me, I know it's Blam, but I mean, it's literally written Blame, so I'm going to keep calling it that.
Yeah. I think it will be more darker. I consider how Blame is. But aside from that, yeah, they don't change much.
It wouldn't change a ton. It would. I think the setting would have a little better pacing. God, the setting would be a little more dreary, even though it's already pretty fucking dark as it is.
Yeah.
the show I personally haven't seen it yet. The show looks a lot like Boogie Pop Phantom in a lot of aspects.
As I haven't seen it, I can't comment on that.
Okay.
You
Boogie Pop
can
Phantom
draw connections.
is spaced out episodes trying to put the plot together as a whole. And then the
Okay.
ending would make sense once you've done that.
Yeah.
But the animation and the art style is very dreary and not very good looking.
You can kind of draw the connection, but Ergo Proxy is a little different. I'm gonna stick by saying it's closer to like Blame and Knights.
Okay. I don't know, it's on one of my lists to watch down the line, maybe 3 years from now.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometime between now and when I become president of the United States.
Look forward to the game show episode.
So
After retirement. The next one
Our
is
next
fun.
one is-
the next one is fun. Will be fun to discuss this.
Strike Witches.
Yeah.
I looked up some
Now, this is
videos, Hickey, and I think I know why it's your favorite show. I saw Yuri in it.
I wouldn't say Yuri. Maybe some Yuri bait.
Hey, they kissed. They straight up kissed. Two girls straight up
We know
kissing.
Japanese
That's more
women
than
don't
he's
kiss.
used to.
Like the first manga they did about Strike Witches was a Yuri hentai like stuff, but
Nice.
it was like cancelled after 3 chapters.
I hate
Now,
people.
Strike Witches is the Kankali Plains kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of is.
I mean, I don't know much about either series, so that's the only dig I have for you.
Okay, good.
To be fair.
No
The-
one
The,
watched
the
it,
best
so
dig I
it's
got
gonna-
is it's a bunch of little girls that turn into anthropomorphic creatures that have magical powers because reasons,
Yep.
and they have
Sure.
to fight other aliens because reasons,
Sure.
And look at their legs.
and then
Look
look
at
at
them.
their pedophilic asses.
Not
Nice.
all of them have pedophilic as. Okay. Just
All
want
right,
to
fine,
stress.
90%.
Yeah.
You're
Okay,
right.
fine.
You're right.
Yes. Okay.
Welcome to
I'm
Japan.
good. I'm good at that.
It's not complete pedophilia, just kind of.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the guy that wrote it is a weird guy.
You don't say.
No, you don't fucking say. Alright, guys, what we're gonna do is we're gonna write a manga, right? And it's gonna be about girls, right? but really they're just anthropomorphized planes, and they gotta fight the nothing over there.
They're modified Second World War pilots.
Oh, that's so much better.
Yeah.
That's so much better.
Yeah.
I had such a hard time watching the show. The abridged series was unbearable.
Like, there's one that's worse. There's worse than Strike Witches. I can remember.
What is
the
it?
name,
The sequel?
No, was,
No, I believe it's called Can
Sky
Kale.
Girls or something like that. That was pedophilic as hell. Holy fuck, at least you have some
This is Japan, after all.
German girls that are kind of well developed. Strike witches
Put
and
them
brave
big-ass
witches and
boobs.
whatever witches you want.
They're called witches, right? Not bitches.
Oh, whatever.
Oh, fun.
From time to time.
Well, speaking of fun, are we going to move on to
Yours?
my picks?
Yeah.
My
Okay.
favorites?
Sure.
Yeah.
Now,
sure.
obviously, these are the best. You guys can not make fun of them. There's nothing terrible about any of these shows
No.
at all.
Uh-huh.
So,
Especially that last one. That last one's not the worst one. It's the third worst one.
out of the three.
Out of the three, indeed.
Oh no, out of its franchise.
Oh. Shots fired, and we don't even know what it is yet.
So, yeah. Let's just go with the anime that saved anime. And that's One Piece.
The anime that saved anime, huh? The anime I dropped after 54 episodes.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, that's a fair assessment.
Uh,
I couldn't.
it's one of
One
the
Piece.
it's one of the big ones. One of the big shonens.
So if you want to get into One Piece, everyone, what I would implore you to do,
Skip the filler.
no, just go read the manga, and then when you're finally caught up, go start watching the series because it's a grueling one chapter an episode. Yeah, that's right, like 8 pages an episode. That's horrible.
Oh yeah.
Um,
I still remember those episodes of fights where it's like they're literally standing talking to each other, and by the end of the episode they might have taken like one step to the side. Cue next episode. It's like, wow, great episode, guys.
Does that
Good
not
job.
just create the best suspense?
It's Dragon Ball
yeah.
Z syndrome to the next level.
You know, if you wanted the Spirit Bomb for 400 episodes,
Man, do I got a series for you. It's called One Piece.
and you wanted pirates,
And you want main characters that does nothing but scream in your ear all the time. I watched 3 episodes in a row when I started that, and I had a headache by the end.
I started reading One Piece when it finally released in American Shonen Jump, back when we actually had like the magazine before it was electronic. I really liked it, man. I really did. But after I finally saw the anime, I've got 170 episodes in about. And I couldn't keep going. I couldn't care less.
oh come on, man! It gets really good around that 500 mark.
Yeah, I love that. I love that explanation. Gintama gets really good right around season 7. Don't worry, you just gotta gruel through the other 6.
I think I'm watching like, I don't know, 30 episodes. I'm watching a shit ton of anime seasonal, so I don't have time for One Piece.
How could you not have time for an anime that will take over all other anime?
Sure.
And if you thought One Piece was bad, how about that next one?
Detective Conan's good.
Wow, Joe. That's not what we agreed to.
I'm sorry, man. I like it. It's murder mystery aimed at children, and they show some gruesome ass murders.
I'm
I
not even...
remember early on there was a dude who had a. All right, I'm gonna spoil like season 1, episode 12 of this 1,000-episode series. Don't crucify me.
It's at 862. It just released yesterday.
Oh, don't worry, it'll get there. This is retroactive. It'll work. He freezes a knife standing straight up in a block of ice. Stands in a chair, jumps off the chair onto the knife. And they don't explain this to you until the end of the episode. So, like, you're wondering why there's liquid on the floor that was just assumed to be urine, and a knife hanging next to it, and this guy just kind of dead in a pool of liquid. My problem with this series is our main character takes wild jumps in logic. Just like, you did this. I know you did this. Well, how do you know? Well, I have this evidence. What evidence? All the evidence.
All of the evidence. It's
Joe.
all in front of you. Confession ensues every time.
But Joe, he is smart. He's the
He's a
smartest little
smart little
boy.
8-year-old. Have fun proving that in court.
He's the mind of an adult.
I can do that.
Yeah, it's the mind of an adult in the body of a child.
No, the closest I've ever come
Every
to
pedophile's
watching,
dream.
the closest I've ever come to watching Detective Conan was when I watched Magic Kaito. That's probably the closest I've come to watching Conan. I've had no interest in that series whatsoever.
It's on my
Yeah,
plan to
Magician
watch
Thief.
list. But like, it's after retirement shit, so I'm not touching it.
I will get to the show when I retire.
Yeah.
I have nothing
Yep.
better to do, and I'm just awaiting death slowly.
So,
Pretty
JD,
much
I know you
watching
waited
Conan.
3 years to start watching the show again. After those 3 years, how many episodes do you have to watch to be caught up in canon?
36.
36? Out of 150 episodes? 156?
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, that would be one a week for 3 years.
Yep.
36 out of 156 episodes are canon.
What this show started doing even more so in about that 500 mark was, I guess they needed more material or let the manga go ahead, and as watchable as the episodes are, they're TV originals. So they're just self-contained murder mysteries in between the main canon parts of the show.
It's just Law and Order.
Yeah, it's become just Law and Order aimed at children, and
Oh.
there's still some pretty gruesome murders. Ranging from, it's always a silhouette because they don't want to tell you who it is. It's always the same silhouette that murders somebody, and to think that the show can keep coming up with new ideas of how to kill somebody might not be the best audience to aim at, like an 8-year-old who maybe hates his dad.
Well, this is Japan, so I mean, there is a lot of sibling hatred.
Who we kidding? There's no children in Japan anyways, so.
That's true. The entire race is going to be gone in 2 generations, sadly.
We need to go there and repopulate. Remember that.
Shouldn't be too hard. We're going to be the tallest people there. Even you, Hickey. You'll be a giant there.
Yeah, shit.
Even you, JD.
Even JD.
My entire 170 centimeter self.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say it in metric, so I feel taller.
No, man. I'm 188
Okay.
centimeters. Now you
My
get to feel small again.
178 centimeter self.
Well, speaking of self-loathing, I think our last one to make fun of is a good one. It's The Best Show. It was on Toonami in the 90s
I
in
miss the
America.
90s.
It's called Gundam Wing. The best Gundam, obviously.
Did it watch?
The 3rd worst Gundam.
Yeah.
Don't care about
I'm just gonna make a broad generalization and say Gundam in general is bad.
I can go with that.
And this is the best example.
That is one of the best examples, yes,
This is the best
Ta-da.
example of what Gundam can do.
of how bad it can be.
If it
Indeed.
decides to just say fuck it and make a bunch of garbage. Alright, we're gonna give this mech wings. Why? Shut up, though.
No, it's gonna look cool.
Gonna look awesome. Gonna love it.
This death
All the
machine
best
is
mechs.
primarily made out of all bullets.
This death machine is made out of feathers from birds. Giant birds.
How many birds were killed in the making of this mech?
Quick, someone call PETA. The
To
terrorist
fly
organization needs some help.
once.
That sounds so bad. I'm skipping this Gundam if I ever watch.
I'm skipping
That's a
most
good idea.
Gundam.
Yeah. I like the first Gundam.
Skip
The first
victory,
Gundam
skip
has-
age, skip wing.
I like the first one. The first one has like dust in the screen going, passing with the spaceships. I think it's funny.
I mean, Zeta's really good if you like seeing people get smacked.
And it's all the time.
Camille takes the best beating in Gundam.
I think someone put on YouTube a compilation video of all the times Gundam pilots get slapped in all of the shows, and it's like 30 minutes worth of material.
Oh, don't worry, I'll find it and you can link it in the show notes.
Oh boy.
Laying the smack down.
So you guys really hurt my feelings on this, and none of you
Good.
are going to be invited to my birthday party, and I'll kill you.
Oh
Hey,
no, I can't get to Canada.
me
What a
neither.
fucking nightmare.
It's kind of far.
I'll see you in New York and you can say that shit to my face.
You can come to Brazil and say that to my face.
You cannot come to Norway, where there's already full here. All 7 people of us.
All 17 of you, yeah.
All 17 ice monkeys.
Hey, we're no monkeys. How dare you?
I mean, kind of.
Kind of, but not quite.
Would you prefer ice reindeer?
Sure, I guess.
I think that's worse.
I think it's worse too, but for the sake of moving
Reindeer are
on.
much dumber than monkeys.
For
For
the
the sake of moving on,
I'll take that dig.
our entire introduction purpose was to basically get a feel of what our favorite shows are of all the hosts here, and
And who has the best
we just
taste?
kind of made fun of how we accept each other's opinions for what they are. Not all of us like every show ever. It is okay to hate on something. For example, I am fully admitted that Gundam Wing is not the best show. It's not even the best Gundam show by far, but I do enjoy it.
8th MS is the best Gundam show.
When I talk about bad shows,
Fight
a lot,
me.
I like Comic Fighter. I give it a 3, I guess. It's horrible, but I really, really enjoy it. Don't watch it.
And that's-
It's trash. It's straight up trash. Yeah.
Look, there's a show that's bad right at the bottom of this list that I like. We just have to get through this.
So, moving on, our topics that we're going over today. The summer season's upon us, and we figured what would be better in our first episode here of the Weebcast for Red Leaf Retrocast to outlook of what shows to possibly make fun of in the future or we're hyped for, and then we'll move on to just straight up bitching about the spring anime season. So those are our topics. And
Yeah, that's
Sounds good.
together we've put together of, what is it, 10 anime? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 anime from the spring season outlook.
How great for our audio listeners. Counting all the way to 10.
Yeah.
It's the best. It's the best tactic.
Simply the best.
They love things like that. So, we're in alphabetical order here. The first anime we have is Ballroom Yokuso.
Ballroom
An anime
Yokoso.
about ballroom dancing in CG.
Yeah, welcome to the ballroom.
Yeah. Well, it's not completely in CG. Mostly backgrounds. Background dancers and whatnot. Which is annoying in itself. But it would be worse if everything was CG.
I think they are running out of ideas for sport shows. So they went to competitive dancing.
Nah, man, they're trying everything.
I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to cash in on Kimi no, which one is it?
Your Line
Silent
April?
Voice? No, Silent Voice.
Oh, a Silent Voice.
Because it's the same mangaka. I think they're just trying
Yeah.
to cash in on the popularity of that movie.
Probably.
Because most Production IG isn't exactly known for taking weird series. I mean, kinda, like, they helped Fooly Cooly and shit, but something about ballroom dancing, that doesn't have exactly a huge, wide mass appeal, especially when you go down into the anime watching audience.
Yeah.
I think they're just doing it because A Silent Voice was so popular.
Yeah.
I mean, not in America, because it never fucking released here. But that's salt for another day, I guess.
Yeah, so it's actually good you bring that up now. 3 out of 4 of us don't live in the United States, so pirating is kind of the only option at times to watch a lot of these shows.
Oh, yeah. Especially for me. And Hickey.
We all do have Crunchyroll. I have Funimation as well because I like dubs. They have to be good, of course, but but for something like on Anime Strike on Amazon, none of us can access it. So any show on there is just free game. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't shock me if something like Ballroom is on Anime Strike, because something tells me that they're gonna get a lot of shows in the summer season. Speaking of a lot of shows, our Hickey Brazilian Mateos dude over here is gonna watch everything, and that's 44 shows.
Yeah, it was 43, but before starting the cast, I discovered that a new anime was added to the list in summer, which looks so bad.
I don't know why you want to torture yourself like that when you can just watch NHK and just learn how to torture yourself.
Yeah, ask Tori, he knows. Right, totally.
He is crazy after all.
He is Brazilian.
Yeah.
So the ballroom dance anime, I mean, it could really go 50-50 either way.
Yep.
I hope it's not just a cash grab,
Yeah.
as Joe says.
It might
Don't get
be.
me wrong, I do trust IG to at least put out something good, but their rationale behind releasing it is what I think is the cash grab.
I also think they're going to use this as a way to give new staff a chance, because I do notice that their director has no previous directing credits. So there might also be he's mostly a key animator, and he has worked on some good shows, but not as a director. So this will be his first show directing, at least according to Mal.
If the dance part is action directed, I can go behind it. Sure.
He did do action direction. Well, not action.
It does have a sports tag, so it might. See, the only thing IG is putting out that actually scares me is they're putting out Fooly Cooly without the help of Gainax or Trigger or Kara. And anyone who doesn't know, Kara and Trigger basically were the remnants of Gainax's major staff when they started kind of going on a downturn. So without that spastic taken from Gainax or whoever used to be there, I'm not sure IG can actually make Fooly Cooly as endearing as it was, especially when it's going to be 2 seasons long.
Yeah, the amount of the show really worries me.
5 episodes for 2 seasons? That's not good. It just don't sounds right.
Yeah, it's going from a half a core long to 2 seasons. And you're not even going to follow the same characters, or that's the word. I'm not sure how correct that is, and I would love to be wrong, because I love Fooly Cooly.
It was definitely a trip of a show to watch as a kid, that's for sure.
It was perfect. I got to see it when I was like right around 14. So I was basically the target audience for the show when I saw it.
So before we get into the next one, I have to ask if everyone's recording is still going.
Yes. Yes, it is.
It
Yeah,
is.
seems to be.
Okay. Because this one is my most hyped show of the season to make fun of for the sole purpose of that. It's called Cleo no Akari, which focuses around... It's by Studio Drop, I might add.
Which is where I was probably
studio.
going to end.
So it's not like the studio is hinting that you should drop their show, because it focuses around a illness-stricken, bullied orphan girl who goes missing and sends a letter.
The actual synopsis from ANN. This story centers around an illness-stricken, constantly bullied orphan girl named Minori.
Constantly, I'm sorry.
After one rainy day, she doesn't turn up at school, having been admitted into a hospital in a distant town. 2 months pass, and the girl's 2 school friends, whose name I'm not even going to try to pronounce, receive a mysterious email with no sender listed.
Takashi and Kyoko?
Oh shit, it's Lane. All over again, no.
Serial criminal Lane, guys.
Let's not blatantly lie now, come on.
This show could either be heavily emotional, or it could be writing anime to make you sad 101 and just be the worst.
I have a feeling that this is going to try to be more of an uplifting comedy, and I don't know why. It's just the feeling I get.
An uplifting comedy focused around a bullied girl? A bullied orphan?
Yes.
I can see us now watching episode 1. It's trying to be super sad and emotional, and here's Tori just going, "Come on, where's the panty shot?"
She's getting bullied, Tori's just laughing.
Of course I am.
Or it's just,
That was a good dig!
that was a good dig at her inability to walk now. Oh, you're brilliant.
She doesn't have parents. That's fucking horrible, Tori. Horrible. How dare you?
Hey, you know you're going to be laughing at that as well.
Shut up, you know it.
I'm tearing up.
Yeah.
It's gonna be present day storytelling, and it's gonna go to a backstory, and you could probably just synopsis it into "My parents are dead. Feel bad for me." All right, back to present.
All right, back to festival and having fun.
Dead. They're dead. Feel bad.
The next episode's a beach episode, so, you know, more people can drown there.
Immediately.
Speaking of beach episodes, how about Dive?
How about that dive, though? You mean Free 2.0?
Yeah, I do. By Zero G. It's really cashing on those cute boys.
Right, man.
Fujo bait. I can feel it.
People do like cute boys.
It's going to be the hottest of anime of the summer.
Yeah. My question is, no, they're not going to have nipples. Never mind, I was about to say. My question is, do they have nipples? No, they don't. This is free. This is totally free.
The more Eternal Summer.
The more
The Eternalist. The Eternaler Summer. I'm
Just
obviously
when you
not
thought
even going
the
to try
pool
it.
wasn't high enough.
Just when you thought the bar for garbage just wasn't low enough. We got one creeping in on the floor. Honestly, I have no interest in watching the show.
Me neither. I'm probably not going to watch it.
But that's me in every season. I know you are. We all do.
We already established this.
I'm gonna watch everything.
Over under, we witness a single character cracking their head on the board and dying.
I think that would be awesome.
I'm gonna go with 90-10. 10 we see it, 90 it might happen.
Sure, it's not going to be 99-1. 99 is not going to happen.
We're not talking about 3-9s, Tori. Come on.
3-9.
I think if there
Nice.
not a single character in the show whose dad used to be a professional diver, and in the Olympics he cracked his head on the board, and
Now
his
he
son
doesn't have
wants
use
to
of his
redeem
legs.
his.
And
There's
he's
got to
the
be one
father of
character
the
with that
bullied
kind of
orphan girl.
backstory.
His
actually
sister's the
older-
constantly bullied orphan.
Oh no.
Perfect.
Needless to say, I don't think any of us are pretty high on where the show can go. See what I did there? Lame.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. All right. Fate Apocrypha is the next one.
They won the Fate! Yay! I'm not excited,
I'm gonna-
but I'm going to watch it anyways because it's more Fate.
I'm gonna watch the same face on 15 characters do fate shit. I can't wait. I don't trust A1.
Nobody should trust A1.
At least you know it's going to have the same character designs.
True. Which is sad. But, whatever.
Oh,
More Type Moon shit, I'll watch it.
oh
If I
boy.
could sit through Tsukihime, I can sit through this.
Oh boy, this is by the director of Charlotte.
Oh boy. Can't wait for that last episode dump.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's not. So, for those who don't know, and the sake of the audience, it does take place around the same time as the 5th Holy Grail War, but it's in a parallel universe, so I'm not really, or parallel world, so I'm not really understanding what's going to happen here exactly, other than we'll probably get the same characters. We'll have our Fate 101 main protagonist. What's his face?
Mr. People die when they are killed.
Shiro?
Shiro, that's his name. Shiro. It won't be Shiro, but something tells me it's going to be the exact same character archetype.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure, man. I'm gonna watch it because it's Type Moon, because that's the Fate name, but seeing as A1's working on it, I'm not exactly hot on it.
I'm a little worried, to be honest, but I'll definitely be checking it out, to say the least.
I'll probably wind up just getting tired, dropping the show, and just reading the light novel. It's quite a high possibility that that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I can't drop
Same
it.
time, I really do hope it's good, but
It is more Fate.
it is more Fate.
It's more Fate, yeah, and I think we're all kind of marks for that universe in general.
Yeah.
Next one's Kakaguri.
Oh, yes.
That would be Hickey's speciality.
Yes.
Yeah, Tokan Ranbu. So the first
More like Kaiji.
the first oh, it's not. No, I'm sorry. Kakaguri is not
It's the
Katsugeki.
Kaiji
That's a different show.
Yeah.
Kakaguri. Hickey, take it away.
Well, this show's about a school where rich people go to
You don't say.
study and gamble. And the more you have, the more important you are. Basically, can I say how the show opens? No? Okay.
I don't think
Basically
volume 1 of the manga is gonna.
Basically, going with the picture we have for the show, the main character is actually the guy on the far right. he basically loses everything and becomes a slave. Then he like becomes acquaintance with the girl with black hair, and she's fucking nuts. He has some gamble issues. And she's hot.
How much of the nut stomping are we gonna see?
How much of nut stalking?
Yeah, like black-haired girl just straight up stomping on his testicles.
I'd say 1 or twice, but everyone steps on his testicles. Like he's so bad playing, really. He's bad.
So it's gonna happen. Good.
It's gonna happen.
I think it's on the PV for the show actually.
No kidding.
She really looks a lot like the main girl from Dusk Maiden.
She does.
I'm excited because it's a Studio Mappa show.
Studio Mappa only has 2 modes: horrible or fantastic. There's really no middle ground.
Well, I mean that's why I'm excited. It's either going to be good or bad, and then I can either watch it and think it's a fantastic thing, or I'll drop it right away.
Yeah, there's like no okay. It's
Couldn't happen.
it's an 8 or it's a 3.
Couldn't happen the Clockwork Planet effect. But it's horrible, but I keep watching because it's just fun to make fun of it.
Nah, I
I
don't.
would rather watch a show that's a 1 than a 5.
I'm
Alright.
talking to JD. You guys are not Clockwork Planet.
Oh,
That's on purpose.
we'll get into Clockwork Planet over our spring bitching. So the next one's a Ufotable, UFO table anime.
There it is. That's how you say it.
But actually, no, before we get into that, Hickey actually introduced me to an ONA that's coming out next season. It's a short called Body Search, or Kara da Sagashi.
TV short.
I
It
know
is
nothing
not
about it.
on any chart.
It is not.
Let's check on Mal.
It is on Mal. Production IG. Body Search.
Hickey, why don't you tell everyone what it's about?
Well,
Since you're the one that introduced this to me.
I found this one. I was looking at shows to watch. I think I was even talking to Tori. And I was
You
like,
didn't
oh,
mention
shit.
this?
I think I mentioned it, or it was the time I was with JD.
Yeah, it
it's
was-
about
you were with
a
me.
group of kids in high school. They found themselves kind of in a loop where they repeat a day, and there's someone killing them. Basically, pretty much ReZero, but they need to find some body parts, and if they get every single body part and put them together, the loop stops and they are free to go. And that's basically the story. I think it will be a short. I think it's worth a try.
It's I found it.
Yeah, you
It's
can
in
read
OVA.
the synopsis.
From the synopsis, it sounds a lot like Kurosagi Corpse Delivery Service.
That's what I said when it was that. Except it's just a different take on collecting the body parts.
Yeah.
Well, it's just a loop instead of being tied into their abilities.
Right. I think it looks pretty interesting. I was really surprised, and it's an ONA of
Yeah.
all things. And in this day and age, we don't get a lot of like good ONAs or OVAs.
True. I'm definitely gonna check it out. I'm a little worried though about 3 minutes per episode because last time I watched something that short, it was very not good. So.
Oh, it's okay. That explains it. It's synonyms or re-member. Okay.
Right.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, I will watch it because when it's all said and done, it's going to be 30 minutes long.
Yeah.
So
How bad can
I
it be,
will-
right?
I'll wait till it's all done. Well, I don't really like shorts. The only shorts I've liked are basically like I can't understand what my husband is saying. I liked Galko-chan and Katori Can't Decline. The rest of them I really usually can't get into because they're too short and they're not funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'll be in the same boat as you. I'll wait till all 10 episodes are out and then
And
just
just watch it as an episode.
and watch it as an episode and then probably go on some forum site that we all know and talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one's the UFO table one. That's now we can get there. That's Token Rambu.
That's Token Rambo.
Now we're finally at Token Rambu.
I'm still
I'm not
struggling with this
serious.
one, whether or not I'm actually going to give this a shot or not.
UFO table, I mean,
It is,
they'll
but
at least get me in the seat.
I'm aware. But the last time I checked out a Token Rambu show, which was the Dogakobo one, yeah,
it wasn't
that was
that good.
Yeah. So I'm
they were pretty
scared.
bad.
I'm very scared of what this is.
They weren't very good.
Yeah.
So
Just-
maybe they've learned their lesson and they'll take it up a notch. Who knows?
Just based on UFO table in the name, they have my ass in a seat for at least 2 episodes. After that, we'll talk about it. But they've earned at least that out of me.
I mean, it speaks volumes of the studio and what they bring. At the very least, we'll know it'll look good.
Will it though? Will it?
Well,
I mean, I think even God Eater didn't look that bad.
Up until they started outsourcing.
Yeah, obviously. But when they do their own work, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, and that's the problem I have with Ufotable. I've said this before to everyone here, but I don't like Ufotable's like business model, which is we do everything in-house until we hit the wall and get into trouble, and then we start outsourcing. But at that point, it's already kind of too late.
I think the digital works, Ufotable digital works will do wonders to Token Rambu.
We'll see. We will see.
So the next one was Mateos's. He had to have it on the list because it's so ridiculous.
I have everything on my list. What are you talking about? Please
Oh.
specify.
You pointed this one out in particular. It's called Kapeki Danshi Ayoma-kun. Aoyama-kun.
So for the sake of everyone,
Are you?
most of the people here aren't American. We're going to refer to soccer as football the rest of this talk.
Yeah. That's probably the way to go since 3 out of 4 of us call it football.
Yeah.
And it is football.
It is.
Wait,
You kick
you
a ball
use
with your
my
foot.
name because it's about football? How
Because you
dare
kick a ball with your foot. That's why it's called football.
Yeah. It's not called hand egg.
The English title is Cleanliness Boy, who plays football, and he's a genius football player, but he's got
long
like
title.
OSD issues of cleaning
Yeah.
OCD or
OCD. God damn it, you're right.
City. He's a clean freak. He will not get dirty. He will not celebrate with his teammates because they're dirty. That's.
Oh yeah, are they dirty?
Oh no, that's in the PV.
Wrong
Everybody's
Wrong
covered
show,
in dirt,
JD,
and they run
wrong
to
show.
celebrate with him, and he just like avoids everyone. He refuses to celebrate with him. So, nope.
the genre is seinen. It can't be that.
No,
Not Josei,
it is.
God.
I'm definitely going to be watching this, and it's probably going to be bad, but I'm going to watch it anyways because I
They're-
live for every football anime that comes out. I hope
Makes me
something's
sad.
good.
This is the same studio that helped make Nausicaä, Valley of the Wind, and Major.
Ooh.
Well, in the picture,
Yet you haven't seen Captain Tsubasa, Tori.
Captain Tsubasa.
No, I haven't actually. I haven't. There's a lot of football anime I haven't watched.
Captain Tsubasa is
God,
great.
you wait.
Great. Come on.
It is great.
Well, in the picture, you have a girl with a baseball bat full of nails. So,
Yeah. Yeah, there's a
uh,
yandere in this one. The PV confirmed that.
Okay. It's okay.
Weird.
Nice.
Alright.
Honestly, there's no way in hell I'm watching this.
Boo. Give it a
The
shot.
concept of a football player being a clean freak, and not.
Yeah.
I mean, it does not appeal to me at all. I can't get past that whole premise.
Fair.
No.
On to the one we all want to talk about.
All to the one that Joe, take this one.
Alright, so this is Owari Monogatari, 2nd season. I believe they're calling it Gay. GE.
Ha, gay.
Yeah. It's basically pretty self-explanatory. It's more Monogatari, and Shaft will get me to watch literally anything they put out based solely on their name. Let's talk about some things that Shaft has made me watch. A show about a trap. A show about lollies. Let's see. We have a show about magical girls. A show about a harem. A show about words. A show about a suicidal teacher. A romance and a show about a bridge. So yeah, I'll basically watch anything Shaft puts out, but I really love Monogatari, so I will finish it.
Will this be?
It's not going to be bad. I have no doubt.
Honestly, anything with Shinobu does it for me. Adult Shinobi on top of it.
Yeah. Kiss
Yeah.
shot, Rudy Tooty point, shoot, heart on the bread, onion rings, something.
Yeah, no.
So for those who aren't familiar with the Monogatari world, it's a show about a lot of talking, a lot of concepts that touch on so many issues, but the camera work is something that really keeps the viewer engaged.
And intriguing exposition.
It is exposition the anime, but done well. Followed by the occasional just crazy fighting out of nowhere. You wouldn't expect it sometimes.
Did they release what novels are going to be covered in this one?
I haven't looked it up if it's out.
Me neither. Last time I
I
checked, it
like being
hadn't.
surprised.
I want to know.
Well, you can look it up yourself then.
Yeah.
That's right.
Man, I might.
So needless to say, this is probably our most hyped one on the list, bar none.
Of the ones we're talking about,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Honestly, the summer season looks. I mean, besides the bullied orphan girl, there isn't much I'm looking forward to making fun of.
And the cleanliness freak. Don't forget the clean.
Well, you guys can make fun of that one. I'm not even getting on that train.
You're boring.
The last one is Princess Principal.
I do not even know what this is.
All right, well, it's
It's by
done by
Studio
3 Hertz.
3 Hertz. So, a bunch of winners from that studio.
Yeah, 3 Hertz has some good stuff.
It's
And
above
by
average
some,
shows,
I
at the
mean-
very least. At least.
And by some, I mean flip flappers.
That's a good one.
Dimension W is all right.
You know what?
It's very colorful.
You just sold this show for me. And then I noticed that it's also Actas and Studio 3 Hertz.
Yeah,
And what
it,
has Actus done?
Girls on Panzer. Okay, sure. I'll watch it.
Yeah, I'll watch it.
well, it's a bunch of girls on the cover. It focuses on 5 high school girls at a prestigious school, and they do spy shit. So,
I'll watch
we'll
it.
see what happens.
Contrary to popular belief, I do like girls. I will try.
Já tô terminando já.
You don't say.
Actus did Cyborg 009 Thai Devilman.
Director did.
Yeah, so Actus might do, they're capable of doing some brutal stuff, so maybe, we'll see some of these girls
So,
twist some necks off
Moe
bodies,
girls
who
killing
knows?
each other? Yes. Yes.
Director did Tokyo
He's
Magnitude
recommended
8.0.
tags Guro.
Director did Tokyo Magnitude 8.0 and Barakamon. Interesting.
Barakamon?
Barakamon, yes.
Okay.
Not Bakuman.
Racklemon.
Barakamon, not Bakuman.
Well, I would have been way more excited for one than the other.
I'm aware.
We all know an anime about making manga is terrible and boring.
Yeah.
Impossible to do.
Impossible to do.
Here's a 75 episode series that proves you wrong. It's fine.
Well, any other shows you guys want to at least mention, or just move on to our basically the part where we just start bitching?
I will be trying the daily life of a centaur or whatever that is.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of people seem to be excited about that one.
This is just off of Carlos's recommendation.
I read the manga, but I wouldn't say it's for you.
Worst case, I drop it. It's only 12 episodes. I'm watching literal hell this season, so it can't be that bad.
Literal hell, huh? You can always drop it.
I mean, so can you, but I'm not going to lose to you.
Lose to
Look,
you.
looks like we're watching it all then.
I can't wait for I went to another world with my smartphone now. Now I have a bunch of leeches.
That's a great title.
That's a better title than the actual title.
Isekai wa smartphone to Tomani. Basically, in another world with my smartphone. That would be horrible. Right?
I like
I'll
your
be
title
watching-
better.
Yeah.
Same. I'm
I'll
definitely
be watching the new Hell Girl.
the new Hellgirl. Yeah, I'll be watching the second season of New Game. I like the first one, just a bit of fun. Definitely gonna check out the second season as well.
And we'll see what gets hype and what I drop after 3 episodes. Which is, if it's anything like this season, going to be a lot.
Yeah,
So speaking of this season, Oh boy, it's been a hot mess, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, I've watched more shows than I've ever watched, and I dropped more shows than I've ever dropped.
I also
One
think
season.
I'm on a new drop record. This season has been. I had some shows I was looking forward to. Most of them have disappointed me a lot.
Yeah, my opinion of the season is, I am tired of watching 5 out of 10 rated shows.
Yeah.
Wow.
I am tired of just average.
I didn't drop anything, but doesn't.
You never drop.
I was about to say that. Okay. That doesn't mean I'm having a lot of enjoyment out of a lot of shows. It's just that it's too late to drop, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah,
Not too late.
I
It's
guess
never
I guess
too
you
late.
do eventually pass that point of no return.
Which is,
No, you don't.
For me, it's episode 1.
What we have done here is we've picked 6 shows in particular this season that a lot of people enjoy, and we can't really figure out why, because of our fandom. You know, of course the community we're a part of, and getting feedback from other people that we talk to. Why are these shows either so good? Why are the shows actually not as great as everyone says they are? Where anime, at least the creator, has fallen hard. That's in particular for one show. And then maybe a show's actually the best of the season that isn't My Hero Academia or Attack on Titan Season 2.
Well, just for clarity, we're not talking about anything, any carryovers. These are all just new shows for this season.
Right.
Yeah.
We're not touching on the sequels.
I wanna,
But that does bring up the point: is the season actually all that great when only the sequels are the good ones from the season?
My favorite manga of all time is getting butchered, and you're still watching it. For everyone who doesn't know, that would be Berserk, and it's breaking my heart every episode.
You know, as I'm really into the story. I mean, that's a big shocker, right?
Yeah, one of the best pieces of, well, I think it's one of the best stories put to paper. Never mind, just in manga.
And I don't want to go into too much detail, but after watching Blame and what Polygon Pictures is capable of doing, it pains me that this studio that has Berserk, that Polygon Pictures wasn't the one that got this. If it was going to go that full CG route, there was a scene in episode I want to say 8 of this 2017.
It just turns straight into South Park.
Berserk, where Guts was supposed to be shivering. He has this like poison thing going on. It's zapping the strength out of him, sapping, and
Yes.
it cuts to the characters looking at him, and Guts is walking towards the screen, diagonal left, and instead of whether it's him shaking or whatnot, it's just him going back and forth. Almost like they just took like it was a sprite video game and it was just moving back and forth, side to side, like a South Park character and how they move.
Yeah. Well,
It was unbelievable. I couldn't like, that was the breaking point for me, because I kept lying to myself saying, okay, at least the action's good. I can get, when that happens, it's all right. That moment broke me. I finally went, no, it's not good anymore. I can't lie to myself.
Well, here's my biggest problem. They're releasing this CG trash to most people, but the people who can still sit through this and then buy the Blu-ray are getting better animation.
at least
Usually
getting
that's
2D.
fine. Usually that's fine. I'm used to series touching up before they release Blu-rays. That makes fucking perfect sense because you have more time before the Blu-ray releases. I get that, and you're paying upwards of $70, $80 a disc. I understand, but you can't release something that looks like it's an alpha to the general populace and expect them not to trash the show and never buy it, only to release what I would call the finished product on disc a year after it's released.
Yeah.
It's just unacceptable. Now, I love Berserk, and it's a series that's been releasing for, well, since, 87? So, 30 years now? 40? 30? 30 years. And just to see it treated like trash, like it's just another Moe show or something where the animation doesn't matter, they're not really portraying the characters well. It kills me. It kills me every single time I even see a clip. I dropped this series a while ago. I can't be bothered to watch it like that.
Yeah.
But
I can't figure out why, when you already had the show made a certain way in the 90s, why you wouldn't just keep going on that to keep some level of consistency.
never mind the 2D anime in the 90s. The CG movies from a couple years back still look better than the series. Leaps and bounds better.
The problem I feel, though, is that when you look at how Berserk looks, like, and I'm talking about the manga here, it's hard to translate to animation because, as we all know, it's moving drawings and you cannot translate that art, which kind of is a part of the problem because, from what I understand, the art and like the visuals of the manga is a huge part of what makes Berserk. Even just in terms of storytelling, it really does well in using its own art as a piece of storytelling, not just the words that they say. And I feel like that's why everybody just feels like that it wants to try to adapt this. They decide to head to CG, because it's like, well, we can't do this with 2D. We can't adapt this with 2D. Maybe it'll be easier to do with CG. Problem then, of course, occurs that they get a couple of amateurs who, and I don't mean that as studio amateurs, or people that are new to the to animation or the anime world. I mean this as people who aren't actually used to working with CG, tries to then make this in CG, which just doesn't make sense to me. Why something like JD touched on, why somebody like Production IG didn't get this. I think this has to do with the fact that most studios don't actually want to try to make this. I don't know that, of course, but that's what makes sense to me. Like, I don't think people want to try to make Berserk because I think they feel like it's too hard to adapt or make a good adaptation of it based on how it looks, because the visuals are a big part of it.
Ravenous.
Yeah.
The fan base for Berserk is already ravenous for an anime, and if it's not top tier, they will crush you every chance they have. Granted, this is basically the worst case scenario. Well, not the worst case, but I mean it is not exactly a great scenario for Berserk. And like I was saying a couple seasons ago, when the first season of the Black Swordsman arc released, how many people is this going to stray away from buying the manga because they realize that this is what it looks like in anime? They're not even going to crack the spine to see the amazing artwork that Miura puts hours, months, years into doing because this anime looks bad. Yep. Anime is usually, like, not all the time, obviously, because there are originals and stuff like that, but usually it's used as a vehicle to sell the source material. And you can't sell it with a bad product. You can't sell the superior product with a very poor product. You just can't. Now, they didn't need to do, perfect line art for me to enjoy it. They just needed it to be at least passable. This is unacceptable, the way it looks.
The hashing technique they're using to get more detail out of the environment, I think, what was the studio's reasoning for trying, to A, try something new, and to B, get that greater detail for the background art.
Maybe a beloved 30-year-old ongoing series isn't the place to try something new.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate companies and studios and different art techniques being tried out. Obviously, as you said, this probably wasn't the greatest idea where to start. Probably start on some Moe show if you want to do something.
Speaking of which,
even just
Shin
sports,
Itagaki,
anything.
the director of Berserk, is the same guy who makes TQ by himself.
I have to commend his resiliency. I really do.
9 seasons of one show, and he does it by himself.
I gotta commend him for it.
There have been full episodes of the new Berserk, 2016, 2017, where I think all of the main animators went on vacation. They just kind of snapped their fingers at the intern. Hey, you do this episode. Come on, I gotta go away for a couple weeks. This pains me to work right now.
Yeah. I'm only watching right now because Berserk is full of memorable moments, and I'm having flashbacks of the manga while watching the show. I'm not paying attention to the screen because for the last, I think, 2-3 episodes, most of the time we had weird mouth flapping. like the mouth opens, but the rest of the face doesn't move for most of the episode, and I was just
there's another anime that really knows how to do that as well.
And I was having like those flashbacks of the manga, and I was kind of, it was a sad feeling because I kind of knew what it could be, and I was watching what it was. Something that I was just not even paying attention to the screen, just remembering the manga. That's how I'm
well,
going.
like imagine,
Keep going.
like imagine if this happened with David Pro and JoJo's.
Oh,
They're basically on the same tier in my eyes. Like Berserk is so heavily referenced throughout, most series. And it's being treated like this, but JoJo's gets this god tier treatment from David Pro. David Pro doesn't give a shit about the rest of the things they release, and I can tell. Because JoJo's looks fantastic. Always.
Yeah.
And Tori, I know you weren't super hot on it, but they treated it well the entire time. They didn't butcher most of it.
Yeah.
But this studio, Milpence, they are butchering Berserk. And you know what? Just to get back on track, let's roll into the next thing, because we could probably talk about this for the next 2 hours.
Derailed there, but yeah, I mean, you're very passionate about Berserk and the series, so it was worth sticking with that. So to the spring season, I think the first one is the one that I've been most vocal about for sure, and that's Recreators.
Recreators is a show that I felt was full of potential, and then just soiled it by episode 4. Because it's just uninteresting to me.
Are we all watching the show, by the way?
I
I
am.
dropped it.
Yeah, I am.
Recreators.
Okay, so we all at least tried.
Yeah. Now, Recreators was the sort of show that it opened with that first episode, and my mind is just immediately going like, this looks like it could at the very least be dumb fun, like just for the sense of like, if a military princess pulls out her like fucking machine gun and start playing it like a violin to have swords appear, and I'm like, oh my god, this is just an action fest for my eyes. I'm loving this. But it keeps going after that, after episode 1, and it's just like, like we always joke about calling it exposition creators, because that's most of what it is. What did I say? We have had 7 out of 10 episodes so far that's been basically exposition and nothing but. 3 episodes that has had action, and not just action and exposition, but at least those episodes have been bearable, although some of them, especially now the latest episode, which I watched together with Hickey, and I have issues with, but it's, even still, right, 7 episodes of nothing but exposition, and it's not even interesting exposition or interesting shot composition or anything. It's just camera pointed at characters talking. Oftentimes talking about the same things. Oftentimes they will later on in the series and in later episodes talk about something they talked about earlier and keep referencing these same points. It's just, it drives me crazy.
They don't even expand on those, because there's plenty of people out there, whether you go on YouTube or forum sites, they go, this anime has the potential to be an instant classic after the first like 2 or 3 episodes. They got all hyped up around it. They're like, oh, the concepts that they're going over are really deep. Like, what does it mean to really be a creator or be a part of this world? But they never expand on it. They just keep repeating that same line. And then there's not even a main character to really truly focus on in the show, which irritates me. Even Shiro in Fate Stay Night had more character development than what's going on right here with the current one.
Yeah. That was...
And he is just straight up protagonist writing 101. I feel sad, I have to hide this thing, feel bad for me, no action, and then there's characters talking at him, and then he just has his head down going, aw.
Yeah, just like the last episode. Like, this is one of the animes I would love to know Japanese to watch, because it's just exposition. I think if I knew Japanese, I could just listen to it just like it was an audiobook. Not even care for what is going on the screen, because how much they talk.
Oh, well, I mean, there's another show that's pretty much exactly the same, and I'm watching the dub for that reason. And we'll get into that later. in terms of recreators, we could talk about another show that's related to exposition, and that's Ghost in the Shell. The whole series is filled with exposition and
Existentialism.
Yeah, exactly, and deep topics, but they expand on it. They go beyond. They introduce the idea that they want to talk about, and then I think it was the second season of Standalone Complex, where the Major goes into their little internet world, and there's a forum table where there's multiple characters breaking down the idea that they have set in place. Now, what exposition creators does, because I will not call it that.
I will not.
Right. I believe it was the third episode where they're all inside the creator of one of the characters' homes. No, the characters of one of the creators' homes, and they're talking about what it means to be a creator, and what you can do to possibly change their universe. Great idea, but they're eating food and the lips are flapping with hardly any camera movement. So, like Hickey said, you might as well have just had it as an audiobook, because I would have gotten the same reaction out of it and same interest.
Well, my problem...
I would be more interested if it was a audiobook.
And it was, and the other issue is, I bring up Standalone Complex too, is there was multiple characters talking about the topic. What Recreators does, exposition creators, is it was a single character talking about a single topic. To me, that's not even broadening the topic to what its potential could be.
Well, my problem with the series, as it sits, is basically it's not subtle. It hands you every piece of information that it wants. It doesn't let you make your own assumptions. It doesn't let you figure out what you want to do. It just hands you everything. It's very boring in that way.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I dropped this series at episode 6 because I was just tired of them sitting in that goddamn diner eating. I was over it.
You mean the UFO table cafe?
Yeah. I was really interested in some of like the references they were making. Like, they had Madoka, quote unquote, and they had like one of the guys from Persona. I mean, obviously they changed them, but it was very simple to see who they were supposed to be. And
yeah, they're definitely referencing characters from other games and anime.
Yeah.
I get that, and I appreciate that, and I like that a lot. But you have to let your viewer, like, you have to treat them as intelligent. You can't treat your viewer as so dumb you need to tell them everything. At least for me, I just can't do that.
But
I can't be basically talked down to by a series and be expected to enjoy it.
yeah, and that's what one of my other problems though comes with this. That comes with the series is like even stuff like the main problem that they have in like the main like conflict they have to solve is, and just to kind of point out how bad the exposition is with that, because it's all like a lot of it is based on, the main problem in the show is based on a theory by one of the characters. There's never been anything that suggests that these things is happening. They're just, I think this is what's going to happen. Of course, later on in the series turns out they're right, but it's like, how do they get to this conclusion? We don't know. They just did. They theorized their way to there. It's like,
well, it's like when they went into one of the first girls' light novel writer's house, and they had the illustrator draw a picture and the author write a panel to say like what she could do now, and only to realize she came from the anime, not the light novel. Like I thought that was cool. I did, but they never came to that conclusion, even though it was put out in front of you like that.
Yeah, they just touch on things once and then move on.
yeah.
Like, oh, I'm from the anime, we should try to bother the animators or the script writer. They're just like, no, we have to go to my original creator, and that's it. It's the only one who could change me. You're from the anime. You need to go to the studio, and you're not gonna get time with them because these people are very busy. They're nearly killing themselves working constantly.
No, so they made it clear really early every single rule they could possibly lay out in a solid episode of exposition, which takes away a lot of that mystery and us, the viewer, trying to solve a lot of it. And then when they do as you said, go to the get the illustrator and the creator to do all this, they move on. They never, where we're at now in the series, we don't even see the creators anymore.
And
So what was the point of all that then?
And actually, I'm very glad that you brought up that, because that immediately reminded me, like I said, me and Hickey watched the latest episode yesterday. And that immediately reminds me, they've already broken that rule. Wow. No, this
Really?
show. Oh, yes.
What,
They have.
people
The,
need to know
the creators
to,
did something.
that part with
It's-
the tweeter?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And if she's from the anime, the creator shouldn't be able to change her.
Correct.
Yeah, but they did.
So, I mean, there's so many issues we could go on with the show. I think people are watching this with rose-colored glasses already. They're looking at the show as it's a deep concept, but not looking past what makes it deep. They're just seeing what's on the surface, and to me, that's not good writing. It's not consistent writing. I was thinking about this actually last night, where you have all these talented people working behind this original anime creation, and you have Sawano, you have the guy from Black Lagoon.
Eu
There's a
sei,
few
eu
other
vou sair
guys.
daqui a pouco.
When you're having exposition, and then you have the Sawano music drop, it's so out of place. It doesn't
Tá bem.
match. So the music drops. You know, we saw it. We see it in countless anime he worked on, where it's action scenes, and when the action scenes are building up with his music, you know shit's about to go down. With recreators, they're just talking, and then all of a sudden the music drops, and they're just like, "Oh, did I figure it out?"
Now, from the 6 episodes I've seen, I was under the impression that the girl with the machine gun violin was created by our main character, quote unquote.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
assume that is correct because it seemed pretty obvious.
It's blatantly obvious.
Spoilers. Let's not talk about it. Let's not talk about it.
Yeah, we can. The only thing we can say though is that you're kinda not right.
It's
All right,
dumb,
well-
to say the least. It's
Yeah.
dumb, to say the least. They're all over the place with that explanation.
Yeah.
I dropped it at episode 6, so who cares?
Yeah.
Continue.
So the only places I see where people enjoy the show is the initial adrenaline trip you got from watching the first episode, and then the anticipation that that's going to happen again, along with these semi-deep thoughts and topics that they don't touch upon. They don't expand upon, is what I meant. I personally can't figure out why it's popular other than those reasons.
I don't know, man. I'm not gonna sit here and try to understand why people like things that I just don't get. But if they enjoy it, more power to them.
Yeah.
I'm not going to.
Yeah, I mean, I had a conversation with somebody on the forums, and they love this show. And I go, look, I would love to have your mindset over the show, because then I would be able to enjoy so much more. But that's not who I am, and this is how I see it.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
moving on.
JD.
The next one is...
Wait.
the-
You can cut
Oh,
this out.
got it.
You can cut this part out. I just need to go.
Oh, you're out?
Yeah.
All right, Mateos. Good having you on.
Okay. Just say that I really love Clockwork Planet.
You really like
I'm
it?
really
Okay.
enjoying that show. Holy crap.
Alright,
Uh,
we will miss you, man.
Yeah.
I'll have enough to say for you as well. So peace.
Okay. I didn't watch Ashita no Joe anyway, so it will be watched. It will. I will watch it, but only in July. Yeah. So have fun
Okay.
with the podcast and see everyone next time.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Okay.
So our next, peace. Our next show is, I think I'm the only one watching this actually.
You are.
Yeah, it's called Kato, and it's a very scientific show, mixed in with world politics. Now, I wanted to compare this to Recreators because it has an ungodly amount of exposition, so many scientific theories and terms that are also mixed with even the characters in the story not understanding what's happening.
So it's loaded with jargon.
It's loaded with tons of it.
All right.
And is it exciting? Absolutely not. I'll be the first to admit it. Am I a mark for the show? Absolutely I am. Am I watching it in dub so I don't really have to pay attention to what's going on the screen? Absolutely.
It's also full CG, isn't it?
It's full CG, and it's by Toei Animation.
Nice.
So even Toei proves they can have better CG than Berserk.
Yep.
So logic is just thrown away.
Hey, it's always a big studio.
You don't say.
So the show's about this wild out of dimension cube lands on a plane in Japan, and the story focuses on this dude from this alternate dimension wanting to advance Earth's technology and humanity into the next level. All he wants to do is help. He has as much as his personality as Rey does in Evangelion before she develops any sort of feelings.
So episode 1.
Right. Or the Rebuild movies.
Or the Rebuild movies in general, yeah. Not very fond of them.
But they do establish that the character acts the way he does, but as a character he's very uninteresting. Then you have a character whose sole purpose is to negotiate. So you can imagine how exciting that is.
I mean, it has the ability to be. It just needs to be done interestingly.
Yeah.
And it really isn't. I just like all the sciencey terms that's thrown around, and I'm really into that and their reasoning why things work and things don't work in the show.
It does take a lot of writing prowess, though. I mean, as long as it's set up properly, if as long as they don't break their own rules, if they can set up as many rules as you're saying they are, that's very intriguing to me.
Well, so the rules are set with how physics work in our world. Okay?
Okay.
And as this dimension dude, I'm not going to say his full name because it's honestly I don't remember it, and it's actually pretty long and confusing.
Is his name just Kato?
No,
It is now.
Kato is the energy source essentially, coming from his dimension that he wants to help humanity with. So
Okay.
what he ends up doing is he gives. So okay, let me start over. The negotiator is helping him try to convey his message and his meaning to the rest of the world. And it starts in Japan, and then it'll expand from there. While the Dimension guy doesn't quite understand why humanity acts the way it does, hence why the negotiator plays such an important role in getting that message out. You don't want any misunderstandings. You don't want war to break out over the possible new technology coming out. And they do touch upon that with what he ends up giving. He goes, I'm going to interrupt the negotiator and go, here's an infinite energy source, and it's in the palm of my hand. It can literally adapt to anything, whether it be your cell phone or a nuclear plant. It will adapt. Here it is. And immediately the UN gets involved, and for those that don't know what the UN is, it's the 5 major superpowers of the world minus Germany because World War II reasons. And they go, we're going to implement sanctions on Japan unless you hand over all of that energy source to us, and then we'll distribute it as we see fit. And the negotiator goes, and they're even having a conversation with the Prime Minister of Japan, like, clearly this is how it's going to end up working out, where the UN's going to take it, distribute it, so they can make a profit off it. And the lower-end countries aren't going to be able to evolve their society utilizing this new technology. Things are going to be held back. So in that sense, the real-world mechanics are there. Then when you bring in this alternate dimension, there's no rules for it. And the characters touch on that constantly. They go, we don't understand how any of this works. because it doesn't go by the laws of our world that we live in. So that opens up anything to work in the future. So the rules are there for us, but not them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I have bored you with that explanation, that is the show.
Well, you haven't. I do like politics and science a lot.
Not gonna lie, I kinda tuned out during that.
Yeah, exactly. That's where a lot of people might look at Kato and go, "This is either interesting because I'm a mark for that stuff, or as Tori, you said, that sounds incredibly boring. I don't think I could pay attention to it."
Yeah.
So that's Kato. I am fully admitting that the show has a lot not going for it. And I honestly don't, as of now, I don't think I could really give it above even a 6 out of 10. And I like the show.
Oh well. Yeah. You know it's weird when Toei's putting out one of the better things in the season.
Yep.
Well, I mean, One Piece is the best. I mean,
let's not blatantly lie. I will now repeat.
All right. So moving on. Our next show is World End.
Ooh.
A really long title that I don't want to really say.
World End.
What are you doing at the,
or Suka Suka?
What are you doing at the end of the world? Are you busy? Will you save us? World End.
Yeah.
I very recently dropped this series for a couple of reasons. Most of them are just my own. I know a lot of people like this show, but I thought the directing wasn't very great. I mean, episode 8 just kind of... I just stopped caring. I didn't like the romance. I don't like the woe is the fucking tragic girlfriend shit, and I felt like the character changes came out of nowhere. So I dropped it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I have on it.
I recently dropped it as well. I started watching episode 9, and they kind of just did something right at the beginning of episode 9 that just immediately kind of undermined something that happened previously, and that was the final drop for me. That kind of killed any hope I had for that. Some of my problems with it stems from the fact that, like, already quite early on, essentially what this is, the story's about, like, humanity has been destroyed, and several hundred years in the future, humanity has migrated into, like, floating islands in the sky, and they're getting attacked by beasts. So they have these leprechauns that are fighting these beasts. And then our main character shows up. He is apparently the only surviving human who was frozen in time for some 500 years, and is now.
Well, for instance, they talk about the feature list for like 2-3 episodes, and then never touch it again.
Yeah, and
just start casually walking through the city like it's fine.
Yeah.
After getting thrown out of a city.
Yep. And then kind of what happens is essentially he joins the military and ends up babysitting these little girls. Yeah. So these little girls, they are leprechauns. They are weapons with no emotions, and all they know is how to fight to protect humanity. That is their job. Something that the show likes to try to tell us about. When it tries to get serious, it will do stuff like, for example, show one of the girls just chasing after a ball, accidentally fall off a cliff, fall down, and break her arm, start bleeding from her head. Like, very serious, very dark stuff. And all the other little girls are just standing over going, "Stop wasting time, come back with the ball." Like, nobody cares, because they don't have emotions, they're weapons. Stuff like this, I feel could have been interesting, if not immediately having, of course, our Willem, the main character, our human guy, immediately showing his emotion by running to her rescue, and everybody immediately go, "Oh, you're a pedophile, you like little girls." It's like, way to ruin the moment, thank you. And that's something the show does a lot. And that always bothers me. So, yeah.
So what you mentioned the romance not doing it for you. Is it just juvenile, or because there's another show this season that many people enjoy, but none of us are watching it. But it's very juvenile. It's a middle school romance. Is it something along those lines?
It just feels like the romance kind of wasn't real.
Felt forced?
Well, not even that. It just didn't. I don't really know another way to explain it. It felt like it shouldn't have been.
Let's put-
because he just kind of fell in love and dropped every thought he had of his previous time. Like it was a hard cut for me, and I didn't like it. I thought it felt forced and fake.
Yeah. Let's put it this way. He's the main character, he's the only man, he's the only boy in a place filled with nothing but girls, and essentially they all have some sort of affection for him, though granted most of the girls are 10 or younger, so, or at least that's what I assume. So, you know, they're already a no-go. They look at him more as a quote-unquote dad. Then you have, you know, Kotholi, who is the oldest of them, who is the love interest. She is 15. And they kind of...
He looks no less than 27.
Yeah, and they kind of... It kind of seems like they're the only ones they're fit for each other, except for the ogre maid who works there, but she is like, you know, the seductive older woman. Never really goes any further than that. So it's like... Essentially, it's one of those things where it's like, it feels like if there is a romance in there, if there should be a romance in there, like Willem and Kotholi, they're like the two only logical people to get together, but it kind of also feels like that's about as much thought as the writer put into that. It's like, well, they're the only two that make sense, really.
So what's this? A lot of people weren't affected by it, but what's this major character change for no reason that you guys are talking about?
It's mental disintegration. They don't get very old, their weapons, and the more they have this power, like they have power to wield these weapons and whatnot, and the more they use that power, the more excessive that is, the more strain it puts on their mind, until eventually their mind melts and they die. What this happens...
Well, that sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, and this happens to Kotholi, who then, of course, does a miraculous U-turn and comes back to being alive. Who then does a miraculous... Well, not a miraculous, but who then does another U-turn, which basically is still connected to the mental disintegration, and that is the more that she uses her power, the more she starts to forget. She forgets who she is. And when I dropped it, this was because we also then was introduced to one... Well, not introduced, but we got to talk to one of the other characters in the show, who also apparently has gone through the same thing. She's had a mental disintegration, and she has forgotten all of her memories. And now there's a new person who has taken over her. She's no longer the same person. She's somebody else who has... But because this character that disappeared wrote diaries about her everyday life, she read those and can now act like her. So somehow nobody has noticed that this has happened to her. I don't know how, but whatever. But she tells Kotholi this, and essentially the same thing is happening to Kotholi. She is... her of this world is forgetting who she is, and it seems like somebody else is appearing in her stead. And the popular theory, at least for me and Senpai, is that is one of the other humans who died. One of the other girls that Willem knew way back in the day, like 500 years ago.
It really sounds all over the place. And very convenient writing.
Yeah.
Basically. I had a lot of hope for the show, because I really enjoyed it by episode 6. Episode 7 started kind of turning for me. And episode 8, I was done. I don't like tragic girlfriends as they sit, and that just threw it right over the top for me. Just that, woe is me, everyone should feel bad now. Like, it didn't feel like a genuine emotional moment. It felt like you had to feel that way, or this moment was going to be nothing. And I did not feel that way, so for me the moment was nothing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if they establish the rules of the mental disintegration, and then it happens, you go, well, it's sad that it happened, but it's expected, so you wouldn't be overly overcome with emotion.
Yeah,
overcome.
That's kind of what I feel like they went for as well. But you know, it's supposed to be one of those like happy, sad moments because she comes back. Right, so it's one of those like, oh, a miracle has happened, but you know, then it also turns out that it's not over yet. Like she survived phase 1. Let's put it that way.
Well, and after explaining, after explaining that she was literally the only case that had ever happened, the next episode it's just, oh no, that happened to me too. Just no one saw it in magic, and here I am.
Yeah. So that's like,
oh god.
So that's one of those things.
Yeah, that's breaking.
Yeah.
It's just undercutting.
That's breaking your own rules. That's convenient writing just for the sake of moving along.
Yep.
I'm not a fan of that either.
Yeah.
Well, so that's World End, I guess. The next show is something I'm sure you two are just dying to talk about.
Oh, really?
Please don't make me do this.
This is your blood pact show.
It is.
I can't believe my little sister is a valid target. The series. Yep. Now,
Arrow
before everyone
Manga
starts
Sensei.
tossing shade at me, I gave Orihimo a 5, which for me is a average score because that's what a 5 out of 10 is. Yeah. So, it's not because I hate Orihimo that I hate this series. I hate this series because it physically causes me pain every time I watch it. The writing is so shallow, so convenient, so incredibly poor, and I don't care that the character designs are cute or whatever you want to say. I just despise everything about this show. I don't like the main character. I think he's a moron, to be honest. And I can't be... If it wasn't for this blood pact with Tori, there is absolutely 0% chance that I would have got past episode 1. I wouldn't have even got past the OP if I would have watched this.
It's an interesting show. Like we referenced now, me and Joe, we have a blood pact going on, which basically says we have to watch it, and we're kind of just hoping that one or the other breaks so that we can finally drop it, because this is getting way past my threshold of what I can stand. So
I will win.
I will win. Fuck you. But like, my biggest problem is, yes, this is by the creator who made Orihimo, so what can you expect? Well, incest. He's trying to write the incest story that he couldn't write with Orihimo, with the caption that they're no longer blood related, because, that's what puts a stop to his stories. So what we essentially have is, that's not enough.
Also, she's 12 or 13.
Yeah, and that's kind of the problem, right?
Let's
it's not enough. In order to make this even weirder, we're also talking about, like, characters in who everybody seems to think they're in high school, but from what I understand, they're middle schoolers. So yeah, 13 and up. That's not. That's just far outside of my comfort zone, and so I see people say that it's a beautiful pile of trash. It's it still manages to be entertaining in a shitty way that only anime can, and I'm sitting here ripping my hair out. I can't agree. Even the trash monster that I am doesn't appreciate this show.
I found that the only way to make this show at least entertaining enough for me to continue is to watch it live with Tori on our Discord.
Yeah,
I can't watch it alone. I'm just gonna blank out. I'm not gonna have any idea what happened at the end of the episode, but Crunchyroll's gonna say I watched it, and that's cheating, and I can't do that. My integrity says no fucking cheating.
Yeah.
Oh boy. I mean, there's countless shows out there that really harp on the incest. Not harp. Go beyond it. It feels like it has to be there now.
Yeah.
And
it has.
They're treating it like a fetish instead of a crime.
And just in order, to mention some of the nice actual lines from the show, such as the very small lolly girl, the blonde lolly girl, like Elf, saying stuff like let's continue our lewd fun at the beach part 2, stuff like this, and they're not even joking.
We can go much earlier than that with a 12-year-old saying I love dicks, and so does everyone my age.
Yeah, that was
it's like no.
Her entire joke is that she is the quote-unquote slut, and it's like, no, please, no. Oh, God, no.
She is in the Little Sisters class. By the way, the Little Sisters are neat.
Yeah.
Or a hikikomori. So that's another layer of garbage. She's never actually met another male, yet somehow her brother doesn't understand. It's like, I love someone too. Oh, that can't be me. You're the only male she's seen in a decade.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's you.
Yeah, it's dumb.
Wasn't there a scene where they actually have sex?
No, and they better not.
I hope not.
I thought there was like behind closed doors. Yeah, they did something kind of moment.
Nope.
That's what I heard.
No.
If it did happen, my brain shut that off so hard and so fast.
I think
that I'm never gonna remember it.
The only thing I can think of is they did do something behind closed doors, and that wasn't them too. That was with the slut girl. They basically tied her up and put a blindfold over her and had Eromanga Sensei inspect her panties. Eromanga Sensei is the little sister, and she draws illustrations for Masamune, who is a light novel author. course, I get a phone call. So yeah,
Do none of you silence your phones?
I didn't know it was on. But yeah, no.
You're a terrible person.
Don't forget about when they tear her panties off and she's just staring at straight 12-year-old vagina.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't stand this show, and honestly...
So you think people are watching it just straight for cute characters and cute moments, even though they won't actually see what's in front of them?
I don't know why
No,
people
I
watch
think-
this.
I think people are watching this just because they want to. Honestly, they just want more Ori emo, and this is by far and away much worse than Ori emo.
Yeah.
Not exactly saying I was a fan. Again, I gave it a 5. I thought it was average, but since watching this show, I think I could have bumped that up to a 7 and felt justified just in comparison.
Well, if anything, because this came out after it, that would actually make Aramanga Sensei compared to that, which would lower the score.
Of Aramanga?
Strictly speaking,
Yeah.
strictly
Aramanga's gonna
speaking
earn a
on the
1.
ranking system.
And
Okay.
I did love getting early on having people tell me no, it's just pure. There's no incest at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was not dumb. No, totally didn't see that coming.
Something, your dirty mind, something.
Yeah, my dirty mind.
It's like, okay, you try taking that thought process into the real world.
Yeah.
You're not going to get very far.
Oh well.
You'll end up in at the very least juvie based on your age with Joe Yabuki cross countering you.
Cross counter.
So the next one is my Hickey was Mateos and myself are watching the show. We got our own blood pact. It's not as
Du är upptatt med någon
Concrete.
pain-inducing
Noah.
for us because honestly, Clockwork Planet is it's all over the place. It makes no sense. Supposedly the light novel I guess it comes from is okay, but I don't know how more tropey the show could get, and how many screenshots. How many screenshots I can take of just strange one-liners that are thrown in here.
Well, like we always say, man, you can't compare the source and make it so that makes the anime okay. It's not how it works.
Right. Okay. I can't compare where the idea came from. All right. Fine.
No, you can, but you can't justify things that happened in the anime with how they work in the light novel or the manga or the VN or the. It doesn't matter.
Please tell me you're being sarcastic.
Well, no, you can't explain problems with the anime by saying this is how it happened in the source, and that makes it okay in the anime. That's not how it works.
Okay, yeah, you're right on that. So
I mumble my way through life. I'm sorry.
yeah. Where we start off is we got a guy who hears really well and a box falls into his house from a plane. A hanger, not tied down or anything, just happens to fall, and there's a cute robot girl inside. So, does this sound like any other trope anime beginning at all? Maybe.
That starts with a C. And has a character named Chi in it.
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a bit where character A magically ends up with character B from some reason. And
There's
honestly, Clockwork Planet is not a good show by any means. It is stringed in with tropes and random sexual one-liners, which makes zero sense. The episodes make no sense when you're going sequentially 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. You're not able to follow its logic. And even in the episode itself, if you take screenshots from the episodes at intervals of major moments, you don't know what you're watching. I mean, you've seen my compilations I put on of certain episodes.
I've been listening to you while you were watching them multiple times.
It's ridiculous. I can't even really explain what's happening other than the world is made out of clock gears, and it's failing.
I'm gonna have to stop you right there. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Like, how is it possible? I don't know. They just say it. That's one of my favorite parts of harping on the show is the fact that when it comes to any scientific explanation in the show, they absolutely have a line to why a character works the way they do. And I've taken the screenshot. There's this thing that does that. That is a line from the show explaining science. An actual scientific.
This happens because I wrote it to happen.
So you, the viewer, are just watching the show, going, I guess I have to accept it. Oh, okay. Move on to next thing that I guess I will never understand. I mean, the character gets third-degree burns, and he just shows his hands all red, basically bone showing. No, that's cool. I'm fine.
Just nearly dead.
Yeah.
World's about to end, or millions of people are gonna die. Let's go to the fucking beach. And then in this episode, let's go to Akihabara and go shopping.
Why not? What else are you gonna do?
You know, why not? I don't know what else to say about the show. It's so out there.
It's perfection.
And
I
bad.
know.
It's perfection for bad.
It is Eromanga Sensei all over again.
In the same season.
I mean, you have Maid Robot, you have Lolly Robot that calls the main character Daddy, and he loves it way too much.
That's like almost my fetish, but not with little girls though.
Not with little girls that might kill you. Okay.
Not with little girls. I can't deal with that.
You have a Tsundere character that, for some reason, has superpowers when changing anything gear related.
Welcome to anime.
I mean, it makes no sense. I hate the show, but it's fun to hate. It makes me appreciate better shows out there, such as the next one that we'll go into. And Joe, you actually introduced me to it, so take it away.
Okay, so the next series is Love Tyrant. I'm not even going to try to say it in Romanji.
Rene Bokun?
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Okay.
Anyway, it's a show full of references, and to me it feels a lot like Miyako-san, if anyone's ever seen that. It's a show loaded with... It's a spastic comedy loaded with references with love themes.
Nice.
Yeah, they're very similar. You follow our main character, who is Seiji.
Yep.
And he's alright. He's trying to be normal, but everyone around him is decidedly not.
True fact.
So you open up on who you think is a demon or a succubus of some kind, trying to prey on Seiji, and her name is Guri. She's the best.
I'm a big fan of Guri's character.
So she has a kiss note. In case you couldn't obviously tell, that is a death note, but for relationships. And so she says, "Oh yeah, I wrote your name down, so you have to kiss someone or you're gonna die in 24 hours." Well, he says, "Okay, well since this is your fault, I'm just gonna kiss you." So her name goes in the book. And well, actually no.
No, she does that later.
Yeah, his crush's name goes in the book. And so that happens. Only to find out his crush is a hardcore yandere. People keep getting added to this list. She ends up losing the kiss note. And now everyone who is inside of the kiss note in that little love square, which will eventually turn to a love dodecahedron, mark my words.
Yeah, I do see it happening. She just keeps adding names for her own entertainment.
Now has, I believe it was explained as the blessing of an angel.
Right.
So now they're basically immortal, and spastic comedy ensues. I really didn't expect this series to be anything besides dumb, stupid comedy, and I expected it to be much worse than it is. But it's actually tackling themes I really didn't see coming. Like, what is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me, no.
No, you're absolutely right. I think it was around the episode 6 mark where they start really getting on themes of family issues, growing up with trying to meet parental expectations and how parents can influence the child in their lifestyle, how going through emotional changes that you don't quite understand, and it actually makes very good jokes on really breaking the ice of those harder topics. And I wasn't expecting that at all as I was watching it.
Yeah, I really didn't expect it. Just, what is it to love? What is love? But you have an angel who doesn't actually understand the concept, and that's why she just writes anyone's name down and calls it good.
Yeah, her hobby is writing men down.
Yeah, her
hobby
hobby
them together.
Being a Fujoshi.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. There's moments in there where she meets a male character and she goes, "You don't happen to like men, do you?" Because she really wants to write their names down. It's like, "No, I like girls." I'm sorry to hear that. I think my favorite moment in the show is for sure when she goes, "My heart aches," and she has her like a sword pressed up against her chest. And Seiji comes in, "No, don't do it. You have so much to live for. What are you doing?" "Well, my heart aches, and I wanted to see what would happen if I stab it."
And that only works because they're immortal.
Right, so they can totally just try it.
Yeah, this show has slowly been creeping up in ranking since episode 1. Episode 1, I had it like a 4. By now, I'm at like a 6 or a 7 just because of how much I'm enjoying it. I mean, this thing is going to be some deep philosophical garbage, but it's really good. It's really entertaining. I'll continue to watch it.
Yeah, it for me, it reminds me a lot. It's hitting on those same notes. It's a little bit more hyper than most comedies. Or maybe that's just comedies today. Because we saw a lot of the hyperastic comedy in Ranma and, or let's say, Yatsura, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this show reminds me of.
It seems a lot more reminiscent of something from the early 2000s, late 90s. I mean, outside of the character design, just the way it handles its comedy and the way it handles its themes. It's a lot more hyper. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like an ADD comedian's dream.
This could have been a Gainax show, and you wouldn't have surprised me.
No, I'm pleasantly surprised with the show. It's definitely my surprise of the season. My disappointment's definitely recreators.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I had a lot of hype for that series going into it. I really did.
Yeah, I mean, Love Tyrant is. I mean, I've had my fun with the show. I put the opening of Attack on Titan over Love Tyrant.
It's much too well.
It works way too well. Yeah, if honestly, if the show continues at its pace, because it's only gotten better as the series has continued, to keep the concepts fresh, and the comedy's just hitting well. Obviously, everyone has their own comedic taste, but if you find episode 1 enjoyable, I think you'll end up liking the show.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty nice.
What you see is in fact what you get.
Yeah, you're not gonna get hit with just random things that tend to work out. Because it's the way the comedy's written, it just goes, you know what? We need another character in this love triangle to make it a love rhombus. By the way, I have this note. I just felt. Well, why did you do that? I felt like it. I thought it'd be fun. Well, okay, that's the reason.
Here comes a love trapezoid. A love pentagon, if you will.
Yeah, Tori, I don't know if it's for you, but I would say definitely at least give it a try.
I mean,
the comedy hits.
To be fair, when Senpai throws Naruto out there, I kind of want to try it because I did like Naruto.
Yeah,
that's I might give it a shot at some points. It's not very high on the priority though, but if I'm ever in the mood for a laugh, sure, I might throw it on.
Well, you did recently drop a show.
I did recently drop a show, but
did you finally drop Arrow manga for me?
No, sadly not. Yeah, no, I did. I'm not really looking to fill that time with other shows from this season, though, and I technically did already pick up a show that fell in that spot. So,
Yeah, you're watching Yamato, which I actually look forward to hearing your thoughts about.
Yeah, I'm almost done with it. I have like one more episode to go, and I'm watching Soul Eater besides that as well. It's like one episode a day, just because. Why not?
Why not? So
anything Bones touches is worth the time.
Yep.
So wrapping up our bitching about the spring season, the reason why we have Love Tyrant at the end is there are shows that do surprise us and turn out much better than we thought. And then there's shows we just have different opinions than everyone else, such as Aramanga Sensei, a show that a lot of people love. Same thing with World End, that it just didn't hit with us. It doesn't work for us and what we like. And then there's shows like Clockwork Planet, which are just so bad it's hard to explain because nothing works. What are your ending thoughts of what we've gotten in the spring season so far?
I'm very, very let down by the season as a whole. This is one of the first seasons I've actually gave enough of a shit to watch more than what interests me immediately.
Right.
And I was sorely let down by most of it. But I am glad I did it still, because I did wind up with, Love Tyrant. And I read the manga for most other series I watch before I watch them, so I know they're gonna, or at least the stories are good.
Mm-hmm.
So usually there's not too much that's a surprise to me. Sadly
Corey?
enough.
Yeah. No, I'm very disappointed this season. I am. This season is pretty much being carried by 3 shows for me, and they're all sequels, which are, My Hero Academia, The Eccentric Family 2, and Attack on Titan Season 2. Like, those are the shows that are carrying this season for me. The rest are kind of not doing it for me. Even what's that called again? How to Raise a Boring Girl. No, that too. But How to Raise a Boring Girlfriend. Even that one is just not up to par for me. Like, it did, but with the last episode that came out, it honestly surprised me a lot because it was a lot better than I thought it would be. But still, it's still kind of another one that just adds to the disappointment pile for me. So yeah.
Yeah, because I really loved the first season, but the second season doesn't seem to understand why people liked the first season.
It was to be much more serious, and to be fair, it did. The last episode managed to do a mix of seriousness and not seriousness, and kind of put them together very well, which shocked me in a very good way towards the end. So I hope they can build on that to just wrap up the season, because I think there's 2 more episodes of that show now, so it's almost done. So that's a bit sad, and I'm just scared that we're not actually going to get an ending again. So that's a bit of a shame, but we'll see.
Not enough Michiru. 1 out of 10.
Yeah, true. She's barely in this season.
Even the shows I'm watching, besides Attack on Titan and My Hero Academia, I'm just not really excited to truly watch a show when it comes out. It's like, oh, I can watch that later. No big deal. And I end up watching an older show instead. Like Bakuman. That's what I'm watching right now.
Yeah. Love that show. Sammy, don't worry. We didn't forget about you.
Yeah, I was really hyped for the spring season. A lot of shows look really good. Utterly, everything's just average or below average. And that's kind of sad.
It is. But such is seasonal anime.
Speaking of watching older shows, I think that we're past the 2-hour mark here. I think it's time to go into our retro anime spitball topic of the day, and that is over Ashita no Joe, Tomorrow's Joe, which came out in 1970.
It's a
and
series
we've all seen it. Tori, you just recently finished it.
Yeah. I did, for the quest that I'm doing, where I'm watching old anime.
Oh,
and
that's probably one thing we should mention is we're all doing a quest.
Yeah.
All 3 of us, where we watch an old anime, at least one from every year, starting in 1970.
Yeah, and we all totally did not steal that idea from JD.
No. Never.
Never.
Original ideas.
Only original ideas. Never forget.
But despite the quest, we all seem to have a consensus that the best show from 1970 is Ashita no Joe, and possibly one of the best sports anime out there today. And we even made a list where top anime for normies to watch before they die. And just because the show's old doesn't make it any less good. We can make that comparison to movies, where Casablanca is still one of the greatest. What's the word I'm looking for?
Classics.
Help me out. Yeah, we could say classic. If a show's a classic and it's good, good is good.
Yeah.
Well,
Right?
it's like saying you can't watch The Godfather because it's too old. It's still one of the best cinematic pieces of work ever created to most people. Discrediting it because of its age is an asinine thing to think.
Yeah. And even though I do kind of get where people come from sometimes, as somebody who got into anime only like 4 years ago, I mostly do watch recent shows, and but I'm starting to watch more old shows. I do understand where some people come from. Like it's weird, it's different, it looks different, it doesn't move the same way. Like the animation techniques are different. Like production issues were bigger back in the 70s, for example, and that is true for Ashita no Joe as well, though, like I described it, I said, during one of the boxing fights in Ashita no Joe, I pretty much called it, this is the most, like, hype boxing match I've ever seen that barely moves. It's like, that kind of is a testament to how well written the entire show is. Because even though it doesn't move well in front of my eyes, I'm still invested in what's happening.
It's... During every boxing fight, you not only feel Joe's emotion in the fights, you feel what the other fighter's going through, because they do touch on that, and you see countless references from Ippo with how Joe became what it is, and Joe's journey. I mean, I think we can all agree that Joe as a character at the beginning is insufferable. He's unforgivable. He's a terrible person.
Yeah.
As he should be.
Yep.
As he should be. He's a punk kid who lives in the slums, who gathers up other orphans to create a hooligan gang to steal from people and cause havoc.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's a gang leader.
Literally.
Yeah. I wouldn't call him unredeemable. Obviously, I've seen the show.
Yeah.
But
Right.
at the onset, he is a piece of shit.
And it's amazing, because when I started this, I'm like, wow, I really hate this guy. How could this show get any better?
Yeah.
I mean, and then immediately, I mean, sure, there's a lot of filler type moments and trying to appeal to the audience, to keep them engaged, because this is only a 20-volume manga, if I'm not mistaken, and they made this show into over 80 episodes together as a whole story. How immediately Joe gets thrown into juvenile prison in the Tokyo system, and there he meets one of his best friends, and he also meets his... You what?
It's 20 volumes, you're right.
Okay. And then he also meets a rival. Because before Joe gets there, him as a character thinks he's owed so many things in life, or on top of the fact that the world doesn't care about him, so why should he care about the world? And he treats everyone else as such. Am I wrong in how I'm breaking him down?
No, I think you're spot on.
Yeah. And it's that moment where he meets a guy named Rikishi, and I go as far as when he meets him and Rikishi kicks the shit out of him.
Yeah. Probably the first guy who could actually beat Joe up, because Joe's used to being the guy that nobody can touch. He can beat anyone.
Well, I mean, when you beat up little children, I'd reign supreme too.
Well, he did also
would.
beat up those what are they, the fucking
Oh yeah, he does beat up like the Yakuza essentially.
Yeah. He did beat up those guys. So he thinks himself invincible, and then he meets Rikishi and he gets his ass handed to him.
Yeah, he has just natural raw talent, and this drunk finds him and wants to hone him into the next big fighter. But because Joe is just a non-listening piece of shit, that's why he ends up in jail.
Yep.
And when Rikishi beats the crap out of him, he has this like revelation. Well, it's not an immediate revelation that we get in like today's anime characters.
Yeah, it takes time.
It's a slow build,
Yeah.
but he himself realizes that, man, if I want to beat this guy, the only one who's really truly beaten me, I need to get better. And it's a very slow build as he's in jail, and this drunk boxing coach, and there's even a good moment behind the drunk boxing coach where Joe's actually saving him as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think
It's really got this this Rocky and Rocky's coach kind of vibe to it.
Yeah, I think
Well,
You
that's
see
the
where
thing.
even that came from.
In other languages, this series is literally called Rocky's Joe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. I think one of the things as well with Joe is that he kind of realized that in order to beat Rikishi, he can't just do it by himself either, because he always relies only on himself, pretty much. But he realized that he can't just do that by himself. Like, sure, he can train, but like he realizes, that Dumpe he can teach him boxing, which will help him a long way in beating Rikishi, who is a boxer himself. So it's one of those things where he kind of also realized that he has to also seek help from others and not just try to tackle everything solely by himself. Because, trying to tackle everything solely by yourself only gets you so far.
Right, and it's not like and you see it throughout Joe's journey, and he becomes a hero of the slums. It's a rags to riches story at its best, and but with his character starting out as such a piece of shit. That's what I keep saying.
Yeah.
He can't just break that immediately. So there's always moments where he goes back to that raw personality that he has. And you see that even in his fighting.
Yeah.
I mean, in my eyes, I don't think it's really a stretch to call this the Citizen Kane of animation.
What did Dumpe call him? I think Dumpe said like mostly referencing his eyes and his look. He said he had the eyes of a beast or something. And that pretty much does describe him.
Well, he does. Now I'm trying to remember the best I can here. When he first sees him, he says he's the eyes of an untamed beast.
Yeah.
And then when he starts getting into the ring and starts learning the ways of boxing, because he has to learn them from scratch, like from basic defense and basic fighting movement. And then when he finally starts winning matches, that's when he finally goes, it's the eyes of a beast. Now he's not untamed anymore.
Yeah.
It's little writing mechanics like that are touched on in Joe that makes you fall in love with the character, because you even see the development of Joe, not only his personality but also how he acts in the ring.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's really cool, and the fact that he likes to provoke the other fighters, and always ends up somehow using his famous cross counter.
Cross counter!
It's almost like a wrestling finishing move, the way the show makes it out to be.
Yeah.
Where even everyone in the audience is like, "There it is, the cross counter! It's over!"
Yep. It's pretty funny.
Because Joe has more or less a brawling style. He just takes hits.
Yeah.
Until...
Yep.
He just takes it in the face until finally he hits the one hit. And it just miraculously knocks someone out.
I mean, just kind of to point out how wild Joe is. Like, I mean, just think back to when he took his life, when he was fighting for his pro license. That poor guy he has to fight. We fought earlier.
Oh,
he
man.
just chases him out of the ring, starts beating him senseless.
Don't run away from me!
Into the ground and just, holy crap, this guy's a problem. He really is an untamed beast.
Yeah. And the show does tend to drag along in between when he gets out of prison to finally the moment where he fights, where he's training to fight Rikishi in the ring. Do you guys disagree with that?
No. It's all a build-up, and I think I'm the only one that's seen the second season of this series, so I'm gonna not spoil anything. But it doesn't stop. It never stops.
Yeah, one thing to note, and I wish I would have known this before watching the series, is to stop at episode, I think it's 52,
It is.
Yeah.
and don't go all the way to 79, because the sequel redoes, reanimates, and retells it better in the second season over the first 13 episodes. So you're saving yourself a good chunk of time and seeing a better product over what Joe is. And I'm not saying even the last part is all that bad, but for something, I thought it was a more simple concept than what they were doing. They kept going back and forth in between what happens in that fight, and we'll get to the Rikishi fight in a second. How his personality changes. They really just dragged it on way too much, and then flip-flopped what was actually happening during those episodes.
Those last couple episodes are why I gave it a 9 instead of a 10.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because I can't not, punish it for that.
right. And well, I mean, I punished the series hard for those last like 26, 30 episodes, whatever it was. Just about. Not saying that it's not that it doesn't serve a purpose, because it for sure does, 100%. It's there for a reason, but it just does. I think from what I read, it just does it so much better in Ashita no Joe 2. That why bother seeing the inferior episodes?
And for anyone asking why, that's fine. I mean, Ashita no Joe 2 came out a full 10 years after Ashita no Joe.
Yeah.
It came out in the 80s.
Yeah.
In fact, I believe it came out in 1980. Exactly 10 years.
Basically,
Yep.
it did what it should do once you have a show that has a second season that's, not happened for a while. There's been quite a long break, It kind of gets the viewer quite kind of up to speed again. That's like,
Well,
what happened?
From what I know, I appreciate the fact that it didn't it didn't tell the series differently. It was still the same story and everything, just done better.
There's just a little less fluff in it.
Right. Because there was a lot of that at the end. There was a lot of that in the show that might throw people off. I mean, it threw me off at times, because I was like, oh great, now we're going to go through this motion of nonsense before something that we actually want to see, which is the ending arc. Because basically it goes slums, prison, a lot of fights in between, building up to Joe learning boxing, to finally the ending arc of training and fighting Rikishi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Rikishi is 3 weight classes above Joe. Because Joe is in the bantamweight, and I forget what Rikishi was in. Light heavyweight, I think? Or lightweight? Something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
I don't know if they had separations that much. He might have just been heavyweight.
I don't think he was heavyweight, actually.
No, because I think Rikishi was like 180, and he has to get down to like 130.
Yeah.
Or 120. It's something wild.
Yeah.
And so this is where we're going into some heavy spoilers here. But we already made it clear that we're gonna do it. Is the training arc of Joe and Rikishi is so good and so investing, because you don't really have to have a lot of animation to get your point across here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You just need proper storytelling.
Essentially.
Very good, very strong writing.
So, Rikishi is a character who's raw natural talent, just like Joe, but he's honed his boxing craft. They play him off as a character that has world title reigns ahead of him, right?
Yes.
Yep.
He is just dominating all of his opponents in the ring. Even when you think he might have an opponent that'll give him a tough time, it just doesn't happen. That's why Rikishi is obsessed with fighting Joe himself, because when they did face in juvenile prison, Rikishi saw something in Joe, because it's like, shit, this guy's got raw talent too, and he can give me a challenge. I must fight him. Rikishi wants that challenge, and he needs to settle the score.
It's like watching a young Mike Tyson.
Yeah, exactly. It's so cool to see Rikishi drop 3 weight classes and go through that strenuous program that he goes through.
Yeah.
Any of you guys want to touch on anything else before we talk about the fight? Because I'm really gushing about the show here.
Oh, I can do it. No, I don't really have anything.
Not exactly. All I can really say is I have no actual problem saying this is the best sports anime that I've seen. Not exactly my favorite, but it is the most well done. You feel for a character you fucking despise immediately. As soon as, if you can just stick through that beginning, there's no real problems.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the animation ain't great, but all the themes it touches on are fantastic, and I would implore anyone who's even moderately interested in anime to at least watch Ashita no Joe.
What were the emotions you guys were going through when Rikishi was going through that weight loss program?
I was just thinking most of the time, there's no way he can drop 50 pounds and still fight. He's gonna fucking die.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, I'm a huge UFC fan. I like MMA a lot. I did kickboxing for a time, and so I know what a 50-pound weight cut's going to do to someone. So that's kind of information I had going in that a lot of people might not have, because most weight cuts are based on, like, losing water weight, and then you start working on fat or muscle mass. So he was already dehydrated going into the fight, and he had to maintain his weight. You can't just do that with no consequences.
And they do foreshadow Rikishi's demise early on.
Really early on.
Really early on. And Tori, you actually caught that.
I caught that, but I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, I caught the foreshadowing after, like, I mean, Senpai, you were in voice chat with me when I was watching this, and you just heard me all of a sudden just, like, burst to be like, they foreshadowed this since like, Joe got out of juvie.
And guess what? That's how foreshadowing's supposed to be done. You're not supposed to know until after.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's obvious, and that's boring.
Right. It's when it does happen, that's when it clicks in your mind. Oh wow, they knew that way back then.
Yeah.
It was written to be that way.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. I thought the one of the best moments in this first series is when Rikishi's at the breaking point because he's dehydrating himself so bad, and he's in a sauna with a sweatshirt, and he's just in the fetal position, freaking out that he needs water. He's like clawing at the walls. He wakes up in the middle of the night, and he's just looking at just like essentially a toilet of water.
Yeah.
And he's just thinking to himself that he doesn't care anymore. He's literally breaking down as a person, losing all sense of rational thinking.
Yeah.
It's quite something to see. I haven't seen. Could you imagine a sports anime today going through a train? Because sports anime today always does the Prince of Tennis thing, where they just go through some training thing where they go to the beach and run, and oh look, their agility's up. Woohoo!
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, though, right? The thing that I immediately thought of when I was watching that was Ippo. Ippo's rival. I forget his name right now. But essentially, he had to go through, I say something similar. It's not really similar. He also had to cut weight because he had trouble cutting weight, which is essentially, similar, but he only had to drop one weight class, if I'm not mistaken. And it was like, his thing was his thing was like his body just struggled to cut any more weight. And I was kind of, yes, you do get some of the similar things, and you get that with some of the other characters in Ippo as well, where they are trying to cut weight, and you see like, how horrible it is on a person to try to cut your weight, especially when you're going below what you normally should be for your body size. But
that's why there should be a weight class every 10 pounds.
Yeah, but that is exactly why it's like when I watched Rikishi cut weight, I felt sorry for the guy. I felt like physical pain myself watching this guy. It hurt me seeing this guy try to cut weight. That was awful.
It was a rough time. I hadn't been that emotionally invested in a. It's not. He's not even the main character. He's just a rival of the main character.
The scene that stuck with me the most out of the entire series was Rikishi's last words. If you don't remember them, It's as he's dying, he says, "I'm sorry, Joe, but your dream is dead."
Yes.
And what he's
because
referencing
he knows he'll never be able to beat him.
exactly. So
Yeah,
even on his deathbed, in his dying moments, he cares about that kid more than anyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Joe and Rikishi do end up fighting. Joe, I believe, does in fact have the words with him, like, I will move up to your weight class, because gaining weight's easier than cutting weight.
Yes, it
And
is.
Rikishi says, no, I want to fight you at your best.
Yeah.
I don't want to fight a slow opponent, kind of thing. And so they have just a brawl in the ring, just a straight up back and forth. Rikishi develops a new technique because of his lighter, smaller body, and they last 8 rounds, and finally Joe collapses. He gets beaten, and as Joe's about to shake his hand due to how tough the weight cutting was, and of course getting your head punched in many times, Rikishi dies of a brain hemorrhage.
Yeah. Which he got when he fell on the ropes and knocked his head on the ropes.
Yeah, and that's a real thing in boxing that happens.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where a boxer will just fall awkwardly the wrong way. We saw it in that Clint Eastwood movie.
Yeah,
Remember?
concussions aren't a fucking joke.
Concussions, hemorrhages, they do happen, especially for a sport where the whole objective is to knock your opponent unconscious.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Well, not today's boxing, but boxing back in the 70s.
Oh my god, yeah, it was if you could kill your opponent, that was the objective.
Today's boxing's all about scoring points. Ugh, it's so boring to watch. But the fights are safer now.
Yeah, you'll actually have a boxer last more than 5 years.
I mean, they can't read, but they'll last. Yeah, I wonder what I'm talking about.
Yeah, right. No, to this day, this is definitely the best written and emotional driven sports anime I've ever seen. It's a show that everyone must see,
Yeah.
I think.
No,
A show
absolutely.
that everyone owes it to themselves to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think if you're just, but it's from 1970, it's old, I can't. I just think you're doing yourself a disservice. Just go watch it. It's worth it. Yes, it's 52 episodes for just of season 1. You don't have to watch all 79. But it's still, believe you me, I watched this on the Quest, and I finished it in, what was it, 9 days or something.
Yeah, I was the same exact way.
Yeah. When
I pounded through the show.
once you get going, it's just, there's no going back.
Like, I gotta know what happens next. Does Joe ruin his life in this moment? Does he? And you can, in the forefront of your mind, you're like, nah, come on, it'll be fine. But there's the way it's a show's written well when, even though things are gonna work out in some way, there's that little thing in the back of your head going, well, maybe it won't.
Well, that's one of the things I appreciated about this series is you could tell the creators had the balls to do whatever they wanted to do.
Yeah.
Whatever they wanted to do, they did. They didn't sugarcoat anything. They didn't have magic moments happen. It's just if they wanted to do it, that's what happened.
I would love to see sports anime today really touch on injuries and just things that can go wrong in sports, because it does exist.
Yeah.
Like, give me a Formula 1 anime where a guy crashes and then burns alive, and that was the main rival of the driver.
Yeah.
Just something. Like you said, have some balls.
Yeah.
To write some things that we'll care about.
Yeah. What I feel.
Instead of just overcoming odds like a freaking WWE wrestler.
Yeah, because that's it, right? Most sports anime today will usually just follow the same formula of the underdog going up against the bigger ones, right? And trying to beat them. And that's that's fine. There are some anime that does that really well, so I'm not gonna say don't do that. But it is one of those shows where it's like, or one of those like sports anime in general. I feel like it's one of those genres where they should maybe look back to something like Ashita no Joe and look at what that did, and maybe try to incorporate some other ideas in there as well, and not just, the underdog coming up and trying to take on the big opponents, the big established teams, the difficult to beat boxers, trying to go from, zero to hero, even though that is, of course, also a part of Joe.
That's one of the things about Ashita no Joe, though. It made me really interested in watching other sports anime from the same time. Primarily because I set up a quest after Tori and I stole it from JD.
Yeah.
I wanted to watch,
we didn't.
I wanted to watch a series called Star of the Giants. Now, Star of the Giants is a manga that I'm going to have to read now because the anime is just unattainable. But it's a series that's quoted to be required viewing for Japanese anime fans, or basically just fans of animation in general. I can never watch it because it's never been properly translated, at least into English. I'm not going to learn Italian, so. But it made me really interested to see, shows like Star of the Giants. I really wanted to see Star of the Giants, and I wanted to see Attack Number 1. But the problem with these shows is they're never going to get translated. They're too long, they're too old, people don't want to do the time investment. Ashita no Joe got translated. That has to be a testament to how good people think that series is, that people will waste years of their time just to translate it. And it's easily attainable.
Well, I mean, like you said, this show got me to watch more sports anime from the time, and Aim for the Ace, a shoujo tennis anime of all things, and I quite enjoyed it. I'm spitballing here on this, on who helped make it. It was the guy who went on to make Gunbuster.
Hold on. No.
Was with Aim for the Ace, and I mean that's just. And Aim for the Ace goes from the girl learning tennis all the way up until she becomes a professional on the world circuit.
I believe it released until the 90s, didn't it?
Aim for the Ace?
Yes.
Or Gunbuster. Aim for the Ace first season was in like 1974 or something, or 2.
Well, season 1's 78, but I'm looking for the ending. It ended when Gunbuster started, 88.
Yeah, so it went on quite some time. Now, Aim for the Ace is older than that.
73?
Yeah, there we go. I knew it was older than that.
I'm just looking.
The manga is 73.
Well, it doesn't look like this is the...
Oh, well, who cares? Pedantics.
Anyways, it's an old tennis anime, and it was focused around a middle school girl learning tennis. I was actually shocked that I enjoyed it. Not as much as... I wasn't invested in the character as much as Joe, and I didn't immediately hate her the same way, that's for sure. But I rooted for her, and I could immediately tell that a lot of the elements were taken from Joe. A lot of what made the matches interesting, suspenseful. Is the character actually going to win? That little thing in the back of my mind is like, I don't know if they're actually going to win this one.
Because they don't just win every time.
Because they don't, and that's a major issue with sports anime today. Mostly they win every time.
And even when they lose, it's one of those things where it's like, the first time they meet their main rival, it's like, yep, no shit, they're going to lose.
Looking at you,
they're going to lose that
Almine.
once, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's...
Looking at you, Allen Iverson.
Yeah, that's... Yeah, he definitely is Allen Iverson. I don't care what anyone says.
That's Kuroko no Basket, everyone.
Yeah, which I'm going to continue watching anyways, by the way.
Oh yeah, that is my favorite sports anime. It's not the best written, but it is my favorite.
My favorite is obviously Hajime no Ippo.
Yeah, and it's just it's a modern take on Ashita no Joe, honestly. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
Kind of.
It's you can't deny it takes so many things from it.
Of course it does.
I mean, first of all, boxing, so clearly it ripped it off.
Clearly.
Yeah, that's how all anime works, right?
Yep.
You do one thing similar to someone else and you rip it off. Unless I like it, then you paid homage.
True. Even if it's by the same creator, even still as just a rip-off of his own story,
Yeah. Looking at you, Die Buster.
Oh boy, D-Buster, that poor show. Anyways, Any more thoughts over Ashita no Joe?
Don't waste your time watching new series if you haven't seen Ashita no Joe.
It's good. Definitely good. You should watch it.
It's really good. I'm looking forward to watching the sequel.
Yeah.
100%.
Same. Once I get to the
Can't wait to
80s.
hear it.
Yeah, and you and I, Tori, are watching that thing together.
I will
time.
remember it this time.
This time we're watching it together.
I will remember it this time.
Well, all right. This has been the Red Leaf Retrocast Anime Weeb edition. We're definitely going to have more of these. This has been a lot of fun. I can't wait to spitball our next old show. We haven't decided what that even is yet. We haven't even decided on what our topic to bitch about next is.
We'll find something.
Who knows? Maybe we'll do an entire genre.
Yeah, maybe. What we hate and like about a certain genre. What, the top. There's tons of things we could talk about. Probably something we've already talked about. Nonetheless, we might even just have something as simple as what's your third most overrated anime, which I sprung on people. It's like, why the third? Well, why not?
Well, because 1 and 2 are obvious. I want you to think about it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, 1 and 2 are. Come on, everyone knows those. There's not going to be any sort of schedule. We'll just do these when something comes to mind. Is the way I look at it.
I mean, if there's enough demand, I don't mind. But
I mean, we're all busy people. Well,
Yeah.
at least me and Joe are. Even Higgy's a busy guy. The only one that isn't working right now is you, Tori.
That's true.
But you're in school.
I'm in school.
I'm in
school,
you
but
got your own thing going.
yeah, and then we'll see once summer starts. If I do get a summer job, I might be more busy. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, Joe's a mailman, Hickey's a lawyer, I'm an engineer, so we all have our daily lives to go.
We're a bit busy.
We're a bit busy during the week, to say the least. Not too busy to talk to each other constantly, though.
Never
hours
too
a day.
busy.
Never too busy for that. Well, guys, thank you for being a part of this. This is going to be a lot of fun going forward.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
should be fun.
So
Can't wait to
again,
get the screaming responses about my opinion.
Oh, it will happen eventually. Don't get it will happen. This has been the Red Leaf Retrocast. You can find us on my YouTube channel. It'll go up on there. It's called Moosenspiel. It'll be on VidMe. That's also Moosenspiel. And if you want to listen to it on your cell phone or whatnot, it's on iTunes under Red Leaf Retrocast and Google Play under Red Leaf Retrocast. The source is Podbean, which is sponsored by David's Tea, which is a tea company here in Toronto. That's also in numerous other locations, and they're kind enough to support the podcast. So if you want to help support the podcast, my job does help pay for it. David's Tea doesn't fully pay for what we're doing here, but it does contribute. So if you are a heavy tea drinker like I am, just go get some David's Tea. It's good. It's good. They always have deals going on right now. Right now is a Father's Day deal, so you can get your discounted stuff. So there's the plug. That is the podcast. That's the end of episode 1. I hope everyone enjoyed. Thank you, Tori. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Mateos, all the way from Brazil, who ditched out early. He needs to watch Ashita no Joe immediately.
He does.
He will. Don't worry. I got him to read JoJo's in a week.
So why don't you guys lay us off on the last little bit here? Nothing?
Not really.
No, not really, man. I mean, my name's Joe. You want to find me on Twitter? It's at fullmetal_LAX. That's basically all I got. It was fun to be here, and I will probably be on the next one. I have nothing going on all weekend.
Yeah, no, I've been Tori. Yeah, hopefully I'll probably be on the next one if there'll be a next one. So, yeah, see you later.